Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It is Manchester United versus Brighton, or at least we hope it is. I mean, there is a lot of snow in Manchester at this moment in time. The team news could come out any time. It's FA Cup. We're an hour and 15 minutes before kick-off, so it could come out in the next minute. It could be another 15 minutes. But is this the start of Manchester United's future under Jose Mourinho? Is he going to actually change it, or is he going to stick with the old tried and tested format? And I think that is what a lot of people will be looking at today when in relation to this team news, which I think some people are already getting. You little sods, you little tykes. I'm just having a quick look, see if we can see it somewhere, because I have got it for you now. Got it, great. Okay, so no Fellaini's on the bench, back of the net. Romero, Valencia, Bailly, Smalling, Shaw, Matic, McTominay, Mata, Lingard, Martial, Lukaku. I'm happy with that. I think everyone should be happy with that. De Gea on the bench with Lindelof, Young, Fellaini, Pogba, Sanchez and Rashford. And I think that is a very, very good lineup. A very, very good lineup indeed for Manchester United. Sanchez did need to be dropped. Pogba, did he perform on Tuesday night, in all fairness? I think what I would say is, at this moment in time, just take away any sort of feeling you have towards Jose Mourinho and imagine that this is well, you know, you might not need to imagine if you're me, but imagine you want Jose Mourinho to be your manager. Imagine the current Manchester United manager is the manager that you want at Manchester United, and then you look at that 11, considering we can't buy anybody else at the moment, is that team the team that you would like to see? And to be honest with you, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, I probably would have played Pogba over McTominay, but I've got no problem with McTominay starting at all. Martial starts, Luke Shaw starts. Can anybody remember how right I got my team yesterday? I always forget. I could load it up actually, but I can't have been far off. In fact, I'm a little bit concerned. If anybody, I'm going to do that. I'm going to have a look in a minute. I think that might be very close to the team I wanted to see us pick, apart from Pogba for McTominay. So I'm very pleased with that. It's a decent lineup. I mean, I probably would have got rid of Lingard. Mourinho's been watching the United Stand again. To be fair, there has been a couple of occasions when the team news has gone quite similar to what a lot of us have spoken about. But I'm happy with that lineup. I'm going to put the lineup for you below. It's a little bit quicker than I thought it was going to be, so we're not caught on the hop. We were live at the right time. That's what we do on the United Stand. We don't get caught out by this early team news nonsense now. But the most important thing for me is that Fellaini doesn't start. That would have been a big issue for me. In fact, Andy's calling me, so I'll get him on. He can give his thoughts and I can get the team news typed out. Andy, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Mark, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Team news has come in. Give us your thoughts on that. No Fellaini. Obviously, a little bit of resting for players, but I'm quite happy with that team.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Sorry, was it Rojo and Bay in defence?
I don't think it's... Let me have a look. I don't think it's Rojo, because I don't think he's fit. It's Smalling and Bailly and Lindelof's on the bench.
Yeah, brilliant. And Luke Shaw starting as well. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so... For those who are just joining us a little bit late, Romero in goal, Valencia captain, Bailly, Smalling, Shaw, Matic, McTominay, Mata, Lingard, Martial, Lukaku. So Sanchez on the bench. I mean, obviously, it's tinged with a little bit that it's a cup game, but it's a cup game we need to win. So you can't really underestimate the fact that he's dropped Sanchez, because it is a game we need to win, and it's a game everybody would want to play, bouncing back after such a poor performance on Wednesday. I don't think we can read too much into the Romero section, because obviously De Gea is the #1 keeper, but you know, he wouldn't have wanted to take too many risks today. So I think those who are playing on merit. Yeah,
definitely. I think I always felt he was going to put Romero in for this game. He's his cup goalkeeper, isn't he? We saw that in the Europa League last season.
Yeah.
As well. So, but yeah, I'm very happy with that. McTominay over Pogba, I'm not really sure about that, but like you said, I'm not angry that McTominay's starting over him, and I'm really glad that Martial's back in the team as well.
Yeah, Alexis Sanchez dropped for Martial and no Fellaini, back of the net.
Happy days.
Got to be pleased with that. So, I mean, what's your thoughts about this game tonight? I mean, I've got a feeling that a lot of what Jose Mourinho said yesterday, and I know it's annoyed a lot of people, but I really do feel that it's he said that because he knew he was going to win tonight. It's, you know, he said a lot of controversial things. A lot of people agreed with it. Some people didn't agree with it. I mean, what are your thoughts on what he said yesterday? But ultimately, I just feel that he said a lot of those things because he knows he's going to win today. Do you think there are any concerns about Brighton?
No, I can't see any concerns. But then again, I didn't see any concerns with Sevilla, so I'm not holding my breath. But I think it goes without saying we're a lot more confident, aren't we? We should be beating Brighton. All respect to them as well. But I was quite annoyed with what he came out with yesterday, to be honest, especially about the football heritage. I don't know if you saw it. It was probably about an hour or two after. It was on Sky Sports. James Cooper, who I quite respect, actually, he's a very, very good journalist.
We had him on the channel in Munich, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember that. He was saying that, you know, football heritage, it doesn't cover the last 7 years at Man United. This goes beyond even the Busby Babes. Busby Babes right through to Sir Alex Ferguson, creating a dynasty effectively at Man United, attacking football. And Mourinho isn't adhering to that. So football heritage is not the past 7 years, Jose. That's not what when he started talking about Man City as well, how their signings all relate to football heritage. It's rubbish. Man City don't know what football heritage is. They were founded 10 years ago on oil money. So yeah,
I read a very good tweet. I mean, we follow him. He doesn't follow us because he's very old school, sort of. I think he's to do with fanzines, hardcore United fan from many years, and I like a lot of what he says. He's called Mac the Knife on Twitter at IDM Jones. And he put a tweet out yesterday which encompassed it really well. He said, Mourinho clearly missing the point. I'm not overly arsed when we get knocked out of competitions. We don't have a divine right to win everything. It's the manner in which we got knocked out that's the problem, and he's failing to address that on the pitch or in the interviews. And that, for me, hits the nail on the head. I don't mind, well, I don't want to get knocked out, but I accept we will get knocked out sometimes. But it's the manner of the defeat and the tactics on Tuesday night and the failure to address that. I mean, he obviously prepared for those interviews and he went very big, but didn't touch on the most important thing for me, which was that he selected that team. I don't think the players really have anything to be accountable for on Tuesday night, really, because the tactics were just the thing that killed us. But a lot of people talking in the live comments there about the fluidity of this team, and I think the one thing that's really important, no Fellaini, he just killed us on Tuesday night. He's just so slow, so slow. McTominay is a work in progress, but what he will bring is the ability to move the ball forward. We all know, well, I think we all know, that the big problem with United, and we saw it on Tuesday and we've seen it in the past, is the midfield is just getting cut through and it's too slow and static. So Matic, Lingard, Martial, Lukaku, I'm actually excited about the starting lineup. If we can get the ball to them, I'm actually excited about that starting lineup. And there's no excuses. There's no excuses. It doesn't look like a defensive team. Luke Shaw on the left, Valencia on the right. Matic obviously is a defensive midfielder, but McTominay really isn't. Mata, Lingard, Lukaku, Martial. There's no excuses really with that lineup. It does tick a lot of the boxes for what a lot of Manchester United fans would want, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. That left-hand side, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Luke Shaw and Martial, I believe that should be our first team left-hand side, not playing in cup games. And hopefully if Luke Shaw plays well tonight, he can get a consistent run of games. But personally, I think Mourinho's got an agenda against Luke Shaw, so I'm not holding my breath on that one, unfortunately.
Martial and Lukaku, big game for them, says Nana. No Fellaini, no Alexis, no Pogba, but Shaw and Martial on great, says Ryan McSwiggan. Buying Sanchez was a bad decision, says Andrew Gardner. I mean, just on Luke Shaw for a minute or two, I don't know what people at home think, but I think Luke Shaw's such an interesting one. I like Luke Shaw, but only this week I said pretty much what Andy said there. I don't feel that Luke Shaw's got a future under Mourinho. There's always been these rumours about his lifestyle, which even people like Paul Scholes have said he doesn't look after himself, and a lot of you lot have said he looks fat, which I think could just be his body makeup. But I do feel that he's finished under Mourinho, and I said, let's go and get Alexandro. We need a good left back. I can't be bothered messing around with Ashley Young next year at left back, but he plays tonight, so maybe it's not the end of the road. I mean, it's always weird with Mourinho. You think somebody's out and they're never coming back, and then they come back. So big opportunity for Luke Shaw. It's not that long ago he was saying he's one of the best left backs in the country. So, you know, you never know. You never know.
Exactly.
I Samuel says, Mourinho missed the point as to why fans were angry. No one was upset because we are out. We didn't expect to win the Champions League. We're upset because of how we played. That's what it is. That interview yesterday could have been 2 minutes instead of 15, and he didn't cover it. But tonight is a chance. Well, A. Allen says FA Cup won't save Jose. I mean, do you think we're going to win the FA Cup, Andy, and everybody at home? I mean, Spurs are through. Wembley's a home ground for them, and Spurs probably for me are the best team left in the tournament. Manchester United and Chelsea would be the second favourites. Do you think we can win it? I mean, I said before, and I said yesterday and everything like that, I will give Mourinho a second chance because I'm still Mourinho in. Are you still Mourinho in, Andy, or do you just feel it's a long goodbye? And, you know, a lot of people are saying when we play Man City, it's going to be worse than Sevilla, and, you know, unless he can come out of that with some sort of positivity, they're still very much thinking he's not the man for United.
Yeah, I'm on the fence at the moment. I was talking to my mate about it yesterday. But to be fair to him, like I want to at least give it until the Man City game. If he can't, I'm not expecting to win at Man City. Don't get me wrong, but if he can't get the players motivated for that, and we go and get absolutely smashed, then for me, I think that's pretty much it. I can't stand the style of play, the use of Marwan Fellaini. I think it's disgusting, really. The misuse of Shaw and Martial. And as much as I love and back Romelu Lukaku, there have been times this season where he should have been dropped and he should have been brought off in the last 20 minutes. And the big one for me is the mugging off of the fans. I fully expected him to start Fellaini today, if I'm honest with you. But the big one for me is when our supporters trust contacted him back in November over the concern that he raised about the atmosphere at Old Trafford. And he's done that, I think, 2 or 3 times this season. And he refused to meet them. It's like, well, we're trying to solve your issue, but you're not meeting the fans. So, you know, you've got to come halfway as well. You've got to meet us halfway.
Because you're a regular match goer, aren't you, Andy?
I am, yeah. I'm a season ticket holder.
How come you're not there tonight? Weather?
No, work, to be honest with you.
No, you don't have to answer that. I was just joking. Because the weather is quite bad in Manchester at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, whereabouts in Old Trafford do you sit?
I sit in the East Stand.
I'm not trying to stalk you. I don't want the number, but it's like the point I was coming to is the atmosphere there. In your opinion, is it getting worse over the years, or is it just obviously I don't go to games very often because I do this, but my opinion of going to grounds, Old Trafford many times over the years and others, is that football has changed in the last 10 years anyway. I mean, Anfield is just not what it used to be, and Old Trafford's not. And that is just because of the nature of football. You make football all about money, and you bring new fans into football. Those new fans want to go to games. You price out other fans who are just, you know, the hardcore, and you change the dynamic. And that, in a way, is good because you lose a lot of the hooligan element, but it's bad in a way because you end up with a fast rotation of fans who might go once or twice a year. But I still think you'll get an atmosphere. Even, you know, I don't like this tourist fan statement, because you'll get someone who's come from America or Japan or Asia or India or wherever once, maybe twice a year, once every few years, and they'll love it and they will respond to the crowd. And you've got the hardcore element at the ground who are the season ticket holders, whether they're in the Stretford end or wherever. But for me, you're the one who goes more regularly, Andy, I don't think the crowd are never not up for it, but I always go back to Sir Alex Ferguson days, first 5 minutes of a game, Gary Neville overlapping Beckham, Everett overlapping Ronaldo, and getting the ball into the box in the first 5 minutes and cooking the crowd so it stays cooked for the rest of the game. You can't fake atmosphere when you're being subjected to what Moyes, Van Gaal and Mourinho at times have inflicted on us. Exactly.
That Van Gaal season, my first season as a season ticket holder was Van Gaal's last season, and that was dire. Watching that, it was. I want my money back still. But to be fair, I'm glad I wasn't a season ticket holder when Moyes was here. But the thing is as well, my mate's a Newcastle fan, the guy I've been speaking to quite a lot about it, and he says it's completely different at St James's Park because he's a season ticket holder there. When you go to stand up to sing, the stewards tell you to sit down in Old Trafford, so it's not like you can create an atmosphere. The good thing about it is everyone in the East Stand pretty much stands up when Liverpool comes to town, so the stewards can't do anything. They can't obviously tell the whole stand to sit down. So that's another issue. The stewards, if you try to stand up to sing, the stewards will just tell you to sit down. And I sit one row from the back, And even the people on the very back row, if they're stood up, the stewards will tell them to sit down, and they'll just look behind them like, "What? Who am I obstructing? It's a wall behind me." But yeah, it's just and always the away fans outsing the home fans, but that's the case everywhere.
Well, the United away support, I was going to say that, as much as Mourinho might be critical of the home support, the away support is probably the best, easily the best in the country. House of Dom says, always live with you, United Standers. How do I get on the phone? So the phone in is straight after the game. We're live for an hour after the game. You can Skype in. It's not a phone in. Skype Goldbridge is the thing you need to Skype, and that's after the game. Matthew McFadden has also made a contribution. He says, happy that Pogba and Sanchez are on the bench. A player's name and status shouldn't overpower bench-worthy form. Here's hoping for a good win. Well, I do feel that, I know there's still a lot of anger there, and one of the things I did say to Flex about the fan cams today is ask them about the game, but I want every fan who's interviewed to give us their opinion on Mourinho and his interview yesterday, because it's really important to get as much fan opinion on that as possible. So we will be asking that, and that'll be on the fan cams much later on. So, regardless of the result, watch the fan cams, because we are going to be asking fans what they feel about Mourinho. But for me, he can't do much more than what that team he's picked tonight. I think he's got a long way to come back. And this, as I said, hopefully is the first step in the right direction. And hopefully somebody has took him aside, Andy, and just said, look, do you want to be Mourinho United and lose half the support? Or do you want to be Manchester United and start winning some of that support back? And I'm sure he feels very unhappy that he's lost so much of the support so quickly. But he's got to remember, this isn't Chelsea, it's not even Real Madrid, it's Manchester United. And if you don't play a certain way, yeah, it might be quite harsh, because at another club it wouldn't matter. But at Manchester United, you'll lose the support quite quickly.
Yeah, I can't, to be honest, I think I remember saying it to you a few months back as well, but I thought it was far-fetched at the time. Him going against the fans, maybe on purpose. I think he is doing it on purpose now. And I can't see why. Like, if he was watching this, and I had one message for him, it's just, don't go against the fans. It's just, we're not that hard to please. We just want to see attacking football. And against Sevilla, I'm sorry, he was trying to lower our expectations, wasn't he, by saying, since the 2011 Champions League final, he listed every season where we finished. That's it. Sevilla aren't Barcelona. It's just as simple as that, isn't it? If that was Barcelona, you'd say fair play. They're one of the best teams in the world. But I mean, like, Leicester beat Sevilla last season. You just put that into context. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% certain though, that Sevilla have conceded more goals than they've scored in La Liga this season. So we should be, and Bayern Munich will smash Sevilla in the next round as well. So he shouldn't be trying to lower our expectations.
No, I'd agree. And I thought also the comment that lots of Sevilla players would walk into the United team, they might do on form, but they wouldn't do on talent. We've got a far better squad than them. He's just not getting the best out of them. But it's like Andrew Gilbert says, thanks for the contribution, Andrew. He says, why couldn't he just admit he got the tactics and changes wrong? We crushed Liverpool and then he makes so many poor decisions. Surely he can accept it and apologise to the fans. I think if you know Mourinho, I hoped he would do it, but it's probably wishful thinking if you look at his history. But maybe today, maybe that team news, maybe the way we're going to play, hopefully, that's his apology. And that's as, you know what, if that's as good as it gets, I'm not bothered. If he starts picking the right players and playing the right way, as Andy said, as many of you've said, it really is that simplistic. Just, we're not asking for the earth. I think all of us accept that Manchester City, open checkbook, inheriting players or not, they've still played the best football and they deserve to win the league. Yes, they have spent more money than everybody else, and that is a factor, but I still think they would have won that league. And I don't think there's any United fans now sort of thinking that, City don't deserve it and we don't deserve to be where we are, and that's not Mourinho's fault. I don't think Mourinho could have lived with Man City this season, regardless of whether he'd got Perisic or anything like that. So United fans are very intelligent. I've said this so many times, and of course we want to win the Premier League, but nobody's saying, I've not heard one fan be Mourinho out because we're not winning the Premier League, Andy. I've not heard one fan be Mourinho out because we got knocked out of the League Cup by Bristol City. I think people are turning against him simply because of the football, and he needs to respect the fans a little bit more because of that, because we could be sat here, Manchester City is down the road from Manchester United, big rivalry, everyone could be Mourinho out because you've embarrassed us with our big rivals. Nobody is. Everybody accepts that Man City are ahead of us and deserve to be ahead of us, and nobody's holding that against Mourinho. So it is very simplistic. It's just about the style of football. That's all he's got to do, and it's quite easy to do.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more.
Brad Colin Young says, We need a display and not a performance tonight, or the Jose out crowd might start growing. I think we'll get that today. Orison, thanks for the contribution. He says the channel's come a long way. Yeah, if you are new, we're very close to 208,000 subscribers. In fact, we're only 98 short. So please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Let's get 1,000 likes before kick-off, and hopefully we'll get a good result. And yeah, share it, keep spreading the word, and get involved. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We've got a call-in straight after the show for an hour, where you can call in and have your say. Maybe you do want to talk about the Mourinho interview. It's your first opportunity to call in, because we haven't done one since last Monday. So yes, want to talk about the Brighton result, but if we win, which I expect us to, let's take some calls about Mourinho as well, because maybe this is the first step in the right direction for some, maybe it's too late for others, so we'll definitely be doing that for the hour afterwards. And we've got the fan cams as well, where we're going to be asking all the fans at the ground the same thing. So lots coming up, and then tomorrow night 8 o'clock. So get involved, subscribe, and make sure you hit your notification, because we've got a special prize, well, 2 special prizes coming up, but you'll need to have your notification bell on if you want to win it, and we'll explain that a little bit more in a bit. You can turn your notification bell on by having a look below the screen. You'll see a bell, click it, turn all notifications on for the United stand. Anyway, we don't get 1,000 before Sevilla, did we? Says Oasis Times. I think we normally do, and it didn't work, mate. But is this the Jose out channel? It's worse than Arsenal Fan TV, says Templar. Well, can we get him removed, please, moderators? Because I detest that comment, because I have never been Mourinho out. The live comments might be more 50-50, but I haven't been. I don't, well, Andy's certainly not. I've never heard anybody come on here and actually dare to say they're Mourinho out, really. Wait a minute. So, what's your score prediction for today, Andy? I mean, are you confident? Are you happy with the team?
I'm happy with the team, yeah. I'm absolutely... to be honest, just because Fellaini's not playing, I fully expected him to start, and Shaw and Martial start, and I think that's really well. And Bay, and I'm going to say as well, I thought Bay was absolutely immense on Tuesday night. It's just he made one mistake, not getting tight to Ben Yedder for the first goal, and that was it. Apart from that, I think he was our best player, personally.
Do you think he should be given the captaincy?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I didn't get that. I think Mourinho, for a man who's had so many good captains, and you know, as much as I don't like him off the pitch, on the pitch, probably one of the best captains in Premier League history behind Roy Keane and John Terry. So Mourinho knows the importance of having a leader on the pitch. And I think it's something he's always neglected at his time at Manchester United. And I think it's very important. But Valencia, 15 minutes to go, 2-0 down, he took him off the other night. So I don't know why he wouldn't just give Eric Bailly the captaincy. He seems to neglect the captaincy at United, and I don't understand why.
He did that... didn't he do that as well for the... He took Valencia off in the Palace game as well, didn't he?
Yeah. So your captain, if they're important, really should be on their pitch. And I think Valencia's getting it at the moment because potentially he's the most experienced player at the club.
Yeah,
I think he is. He's been there the longest. So I think that's how he gives it out. Energetic Edit says he likes veterans, but you know, Valencia's got no mouth on him at all, and what comes out of it's probably Spanish. So it's a bit of a puzzler, that. Lukaku's a leader as well, Gungshi, I agree. Dave B says, have the Jose in people ever been to Old Trafford? I think that's a bit unfair, Dave, to be honest. Come on, you know, let's keep it sensible. We're not like that. Lewis Taylor's made a contribution. Ranieri would be the best choice considering wing play and attacking football. He's shown the ability to win and play good football every team he has managed. Interesting point, Lewis Taylor. I mean, I personally don't really get involved in that, so I'm not even going to be unfair and throw it to Andy, but it is a contribution and a fair point. Best player is Lukaku or Bay, says Andrew Ellis. And I think Matic could be a great captain, or Bay, but I'd love Lindelof or Lukaku to be the future captain, says Safe E. Let's not move on from that, Andy. Who would you have as captain?
Bay, 100%. But he's got to stay fit. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
He needs to get a consistent run of games now, because he's our best centre half as well. He needs to stay fit.
Just having a look at the team in case people haven't seen it. It is going along the bottom of the screen there. Romero in goal, Valencia, Bay, Smalling, Shaw, which is good, Matic, McTominay, Mata, Lingard, Martial. Yeah, I put, you know, I get a lot of stick for being Martial FC, but I do like Martial. He's my favourite. You know, everyone's got a favourite player. I don't make any apologies for it. I get a lot of stick for backing Martial, but he's my favourite player. Thanks for the contribution, Mr. Junior. And then subs De Gea on the bench simply because he's going to play Romero in the cup. As Andy said, it's probably going to be like the Europa Cup, isn't it? All the way to the final if we get there for Romero. Lindelof, Young, Fellaini, Pogba, Alexis Sanchez and Rashford. So quite a strong bench, really. Zlatan will be coming back soon. Few people saying De Gea for captain as well. Does Bay speak English? I'm not 100% sure. In fact, John Sherrill says he can't speak English as well. So and SB said so. No, probably not the right choice really. I think you've got to be able to speak the language.
Yeah, 100%.
Ham says good to see Luke Shaw starting today. And if it makes him stay, give it to De Gea, says Chocolate. Mark is more Mourinho United than Martial FC, says Nick. I'm not. I'm more Martial FC, to be honest. And looks good so far, says Red Devils. Yeah, I think that's a really important sort of message to give out as well, is that the team he's put out there, is there anything else he could have done there, Andy, to sort of be more positive? He's not, he can't go out and sign 3 players, as wish we could. But there's some significant statements in there. I think not starting Fellaini, excuse me, probably pains Mourinho, but at least he didn't do it. I'm sure he would have liked to start Fellaini. He's played McTominay in there, which he should have done on Tuesday. He's played Shaw over Young, which a lot of people will be pleased about. And he's done something I didn't expect in a big game. He's took Sanchez out and he's put Martial in. So yeah, I think I'm quite surprised. Happily surprised that Martial's starting. Of course, he's got to turn up. I mean, I just saw somebody say there, Jose or Martial. Look, Van Persie was my favourite player, and Van Gaal sold him, and I still backed Van Gaal for another 6 months. So if Martial was sold in the summer, I'd be absolutely annoyed, but I'd still back Mourinho because I can't just do it on one player. But he's got to turn up tonight, hasn't he? I think that's one thing. I think Mourinho's picked the right team, but the players have got to turn up.
Yeah, exactly. I love Martial as well. He's my favourite player. He's everything that Man United symbolises: quick wing play, breaks ankles, and wants to get at the opposition. But if he is out of form, then yeah, he deserves to drop. No player should be undroppable. The biggest sort of bugbear I have with that is Martial. It's not literal, obviously, but he'll perform one bad pass and Mourinho will bring him off. It kind of feels like that. But Lukaku, as much as I love and back him, he'll have a poor half, but he'll still stay on. So I just wanted to ask as well. It's a little bit. It's going back to Mourinho's conference yesterday. What did you think of the comment where he said players like Lukaku, Matic, and of course David De Gea, they will be. He said something along the lines of they'll be left behind by me with a much better mentality. Because to me, I don't think Matic will be here long term, to be honest. But it was really the one positive I could find from that press conference yesterday was he was mentioning David De Gea. Like that.
Yeah. Do you think De Gea will stay?
I hope so. The news I'm hearing is that they're after Courtois, but I hope to God they go for him because I think he will go there as well if Chelsea finish outside the top 4, definitely. But we've just got to keep hold of De Gea. But if he does want to go, then you can't exactly force him to stay. But I'd pay him whatever it takes a week, 300 grand a week, 400 grand a week, whatever. Because he's earned it as well. He's stuck with us through the tough times, and he's the best in the world. So that was sort of the one comment that I did take as a positive yesterday. Lukaku, I hope he is here for a few more years, but I don't think Matic will. I think he is sort of a short-term gap. But yeah, it was the De Gea comment really, like you mentioning De Gea and that. I think that was brilliant.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the amazing thing about Manchester United is, and the legacy and whatever Mourinho leaves us with, is the reality is everybody's happy with that team today. But look at our bench. What other team could get away with having De Gea, Pogba, Sanchez, Rashford on the bench, and then everybody's still happy with the starting lineup? This is what I go back to about Tuesday night and why everyone's irritated, is because he talks about needing big investment, but I do think that's a bit of a red herring as well. We have got the players to be doing far better than we're doing if we've got the right mentality. And as I said, De Gea's on the bench. Okay, Romero, no one would play Romero, it's just because it's the cup. But actually, is anyone really bothered that Sanchez, Pogba and Rashford are not starting? Because you look at the starting 11 and it's a good 11. So we've got great strength in depth. We're just not doing, and we've got a lot of attacking talent as well. Pogba, Sanchez, Rashford on the bench, but you've still got Martial, Lukaku, Lingard and Mata starting. That's 7 very, very good attackers. So he's certainly got that depth of talent there. He's just not utilising it. But I do think it's the right first step. And also, I just want to talk about Mata. I mean, what's your thoughts on Mata, Andy, and everyone at home? Because I think that was probably the most significant dropping on Tuesday night. I didn't expect Martial to start, but Mata's been so good in the last few games, the glue really. And to drop him against Spanish opposition was just stunning for me.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I really couldn't believe that team when it came out. It was incredible, really.
Exactly. I don't know whether you gave your score prediction.
No, I don't think I did. Sorry. I think I'm going to go 1-0. 1-0 United.
Okay, 1-0 United. I mean, any experience of Brighton really? Any concerns about Brighton?
No. Oh, apart from the fact they did come to Old Trafford and they were quite unlucky, weren't they? Was it back in November?
Yeah. I think we got a lucky deflection, didn't we?
Yeah, Ashley Young got that really lucky goal, and they were really good. A bit like Bournemouth this season when they came to Old Trafford, they were really good as well. But yeah, I mean, we're looking for a reaction, aren't we, from the players now? And we need a reaction. We need to beat Brighton because I think you mentioned it earlier in the show. One of the comments saying that the FA Cup won't save Jose. That's quite right. But he prides himself on silverware as well. He'll be absolutely fuming if we don't win anything this season, even if it is just the FA Cup.
The FA Cup is an interesting one, really, because as we've seen over this week and as we've seen over the 18 months with Mourinho at United and the 20 years he's been in football, he loves to spin a positive about Mourinho. Like before the Sevilla game, he was like, somebody mentioned Porto. Oh, did I win it with Porto? Oh, did I win it? You know, it's always about Mourinho and his brand. But I think it'll be very interesting if at the end of this season he said something along the lines of, oh, well, I've won the FA Cup, I've succeeded, because every United fan knows a certain other manager won the FA Cup and they still got sacked. So I want us to win the FA Cup, and I really would look forward to winning the FA Cup, but actually it won't. I mean, well, I'll throw this at you actually. Last 16 of the Champions League, as we know, second in the Premier League and an FA Cup win. It's not a bad season. No,
it's not. And considering, I think as well, you've touched on it loads of times, and a few people in live comments as well, like, it hurts even more because it's Man City at the top of the league. It's not, obviously we'd still be frustrated if it was Chelsea or Arsenal, but it's Man City. It's just an extra kick in the teeth. And they're having a Leicester season, they're having a freak season. They've only dropped, is it 7 points all season or something like that? I don't know the exact maths, but they won't have that season again next season because teams will strengthen and teams will figure them out as well. It's just that they're having such a freak season and no team can keep up with that. I think that the points gap is embarrassing and we should be closer, but in reality we can't keep up with that, can we? No team can. So, but yeah, I mean, at the start of the season, second, last 16 of the Champions League and an FA Cup would be a good season, but last 16 this season isn't good enough because it was Sevilla. It's not like we drew Barcelona or Real Madrid, it was Sevilla and we should have got past Sevilla. So I think if he wins the FA Cup, for me, I don't think it will be a good season looking back on it. But if you'd said before the season, then I would have said, yeah, it'd be a great season.
I'm just having a quick look around social media there, and I seem to have lost my live comments for the moment. I've got them on another screen, so that's fine. Hopefully they'll come back in a minute. But I'm just having a look around there. A lot of people feeling that Pogba's been dropped. Would you class it as a dropping today for Sanchez and Pogba?
I don't know, because I mean, you couldn't really say he got dropped for the Sevilla game because he was coming back from injury, wasn't he? But I completely agree with you. If he was fit enough to be on the bench, then he should have started. But to be honest, Pogba hasn't been right since that Spurs game, has he? Thinking back, when he got brought off and he had that really sort of heated exchange with Mourinho on the touchline. He's never been quite right since then. And to be honest, Jose deserves a bit of the blame, but also Pogba as well. If you can't sort of, if he's in a mood and he can't get over that, then I'm sorry, but just like grow up. Seriously, like, you're getting paid by Man United, the fans adore you, so get over this little spat that you've got with Jose and just sort yourself out and get back to playing the way that we know you can. Really. So I don't agree that Jose gets all the blame on that. And again, with his positioning, he's moaning that oh, like I like to play in a midfield three. Yeah, well, that's fine. But if you're the world-class player that everyone says you are, then you should be able to play in the midfield too. So I don't really have a lot of sympathy with him, to be honest. If he wants to earn his place back in the team, then he wants to earn it, brilliant. But if he doesn't, then it's just think to myself, grow up, seriously.
Pogba actually is probably not as big as the Mourinho divide at the moment, but there is a bit of a divide around Pogba. I do see a lot of it and read a lot about people saying get him out of the club, or he's not good enough at the moment. What do you feel about Pogba and United? Because there's no guarantee that anybody's definitely got a future at United, as we know over the years. Consistency was something people mentioned this year, last season. I felt this season we started to see that consistency, but quite rightly, like you said, seemed to coincide with the signing of Sanchez. I mean, he did nothing when he came on the other night. In fact, if you want to be totally blunt, we think it was 0-0 when he came on. So, do you think Pogba is doing enough in a United shirt, and do you think he will ultimately turn it around?
I think he will, yeah, because we've seen he is a world-class player. I think you mentioned it the other night. He's got all the qualities to be a Premier League midfielder. He's fantastic. He's tall. He's fast. He's got the technical ability as well. He can pass. He can dribble. He's got everything. But I don't know what's holding him back. I think it's not all Pogba's fault. I think Mourinho has to shoulder some of the blame as well. But I've just seen a comment there saying Pogba is a baby. At the moment, it's quite right. It's just sulking and putting things on social media with Lingard. That winds me up. But that's another thing anyway. But I really hope he does succeed and he turns it around, because he's a quality footballer.
Yeah, I think he will do. I mean, to be honest with you, he's probably slightly annoyed that he's not playing tonight, because it's the sort of game, as I said, people want to talk about maybe Mourinho, has rested some players or whatever, which I don't actually agree with, because actually tonight is a game that a lot of people would want to be playing in, because it's an opportunity to sort of win yourself a few friends, I suppose. And Pogba would have fancied this at Old Trafford. Probably Brighton are going to sit back, but apparently Brighton might have rested players as well, says Dr. Trolley. I wouldn't know enough about Brighton to know if they've done that, but I wouldn't understand why they've done that either, Andy.
No, definitely not. This is probably their biggest game of the season, so. And isn't it an international break after this as well?
Yes, they've got 2 weeks off. Yeah. They won't have many internationals in their team, so. Interesting.
I think Knockout's banned though, I think, and he's one of their better players, and he got sent off against Everton last week, I think it was.
Well, maybe somebody can give us a little bit of confirmation about that. I don't know how close to Old Trafford you are, Andy, but what's the weather like up there at the moment? Is there any update on Snow Watch?
I live about 2.5 hours away.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Irrelevant then. I'm probably closer than you, but if anybody is in the Manchester area and wants to let us know, I certainly don't think it's going to be an issue for calling the game off at all, but it could have an impact on the conditions, I suppose. But anyway, Andy, thanks very much for calling in as usual. You're going 1-0 United.
Yeah, I'm going 1-0 United. Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be a little bit more entertaining than that, but we shall see. But thanks for calling in, pal, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, cheers for having me on. No
worries, mate.
Cheers.
Firefire999 says, when Fellaini leaves, who's getting the blame? Pogba. Thanks for the contribution, mate. I suppose it's quite interesting in a way, isn't it? How somebody's on about how good Salah is. I seem to remember Salah a week ago got put in the pocket of Ashley Young. That's what I'm going to say. People get lost behind world class, top class, magician, and all that jazz. The reality is, when the going gets tough, where was Salah? In the big game, where was Salah? So let's see what he does against Man City in 2 games. But the reality is, Watford aren't a great team, and I think Liverpool at the moment are, if you give them a chance, they'll. I just think they've nearly scored 5 there. They're absolutely kicking ass against Watford. But I don't care about Liverpool. We're better than Liverpool. I know they've got to Champions League quarter-final, but that's not where you judge a season. You judge it on your Premier League position, and United are above them at the moment. So, I'm more than happy with what's going on with Manchester United in relation to the Premier League. This is the FA Cup. We must win today. Can you turn that down, please? Cheeky sods. I don't want to listen to some rubbish Disney nonsense. Stephen Brooks says, I'm going 2-1. Martial is my favourite. 2 mark. Thanks, Stephen, for the contribution. I'm going to go 3 or 4-0. I have to believe that this is the right team. I have to believe that this is a turning point, and I have to believe that United can win this game today, because I think we've got to win it. I think we will win it. I don't believe Mourinho would have said all the things he said yesterday if he wasn't expecting a reaction. I think dropping Sanchez is a positive that I didn't think Mourinho looked like he was going to do. And hopefully that is a kick up the backside for Sanchez that we all need to see. He needs to see it. So, yeah, good. I can never trust Jose's opinion about players after Salah and De Bruyne, says Ahoda212. And can you turn that down, please? Yes. Why do all good players that come to United turn bad, says Man United fan. It's going to be 5-0. Oh, good save. It is 5-0. I don't know how many Salah's got now. How many Salah got tonight then? 4 or 5? Bloody hell. It's pretty good. These are clowns who think Salah better than Ronaldo 7. Oh, he's got... If anyone thinks Salah's better than Ronaldo, they need to really seriously sit down. Kevin Phillips scored a lot of goals in a season. Really, really need to sit down. I wish I'd known what was going wrong with that. Anyway, we're very close to 308,000 subscribers. So if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe and get involved. That would be fantastic. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. Got the call-in show tonight, an hour after the game. And we've got the fan cams coming up as well, where we've got a special question for everybody who gets interviewed on the fan cams tonight. What did they think about Mourinho's interview yesterday and the future of Mourinho at Manchester United? And that could change, you know, that could change. And I don't really like flippant opinion. I don't really like opinion that just changes like the weather. I'm quite stubborn in my opinion, and it takes a lot for me to change it once I've made my mind up. But it would make me laugh if we go and beat Brighton 4-0 tonight with attacking football, and then all those people who are against Mourinho are suddenly like, oh, I like him again now. But I hope that does happen, because I think everyone should be given a second chance. It's a small little step today with the right team. And that for me is a positive. My score prediction, I'm going to go 3 or 4-0. I think we'll do it. I'm looking for a big performance. I think Mata, Martial, McTominay, people like that, they've got to have a big performance today, and I think we'll see it. Oh, Liverpool could be... Watford are terrible, aren't they? Watford are really bad. Bing bong. Oh, Dom. Come on, where's my live comments? Okay, I've gone on to something else now. Okay, so we had a contribution from Ahmed Hamada. He says, I hope to see good football tonight. Tired of enjoying Spurs and Liverpool matches over our dead football. Shout out to the best channel with real fan views. Thanks, pal. And Herman Tape says that Mourinho is destroying Pogba. I'll tell you what I'm going to do a little bit earlier than normal. Let us know where you're watching from, and we'll do the shout out for that. Chris Windle says it's going to be 3-1 to United today. John Sherrell says Martial and Shaw should perform. I think if Martial and Shaw perform down that left-hand side, it's a real big positive for United, isn't it? A real big positive. 6-0, Lukaku with 6, says United King. Imagine. Playing attacking football versus Brighton is not really listening to the fans. Playing attacking football against Man City is CR719. Good point. Salah will keep killing it. I hope it scares the crap out of our board, says Jared Pesserman. Team news is out on BT already, says Salim Hussein. It's been out on here, mate, for about 45 minutes. Team news is going on the bottom of the screen. De Gea in goal. No, De Gea's not in goal. Romero, Valencia, Bailly, Smalling, Luke Shaw, Matic and McTominay, Mata, Lingard, Martial, Lukaku. That's your starting team. Patrick's in the Philippines. We've got a few people in from Ireland who I think are going to be very, very happy. I'm sure. Norway, Reading, Sweden, Scotland, Singapore, Ukraine, Ottawa, India, Malaga, Spain, India, Salah, India, Kenya, Scotland, Egypt, Durham, North Carolina, Turkey, South Africa, and India again, Nottinghamshire, Ottawa, Finland, Norfolk, Vancouver, I think, Canada, Belgium, Beast here, says Crepson, New Zealand, Minnesota, Sweden, Delhi, Finland, Ukraine, Bulgaria, Kenya, California, London, Newcastle, Singapore, and it's 3 AM, Guyana, Seychelles, Nigeria, Dubai, Southend, Malaysia, and it's 3:20 in Malaysia, Atalanta, South Africa, New Zealand, Washington, Mexico, Libya, London, Wigan, Cyprus, North Pole, Mauritius, Ireland, Warsaw, Guatemala, Indian, Ireland. I shouldn't really shout the Irish out after they beat us in rugby, but it is St Patrick's Day. I did live there for 3 years and it's a cracking day. Worcester, big ups. North Korea, I don't believe you. Namibia. Anyway, okay, let's bring it back. I'm a little bit annoyed with what's going on with my YouTube because I'm having to sort of use a different way of reading your live comments, which is not my normal way. So it's annoying me. I've got to be honest. I don't like change, and it's annoying me a little bit about my live comments, but I'm hoping that it's going to start working. No, it isn't. How bloody annoying. I'm in Chrome and I can't watch my live comments, so I'm having to do it in Internet Explorer, which I've got to be honest with you, I do not like it. I like it. I don't like it. I like it bigger than that. Oh, come on. Well, that's not really what I want to see. That's better. That'll do. That'll ding dang do. That's much better. Much better. Ah! Didn't want to do that. That's great. Close you down. Sorry about this. So, we've had a live super chat from Taha Darat. He says, regards from Libya. We should be behind the manager, lads. If only it was that simplistic. Everyone's going to have an opinion, aren't they? Everyone's going to have an opinion. I don't like change, says Killer Koala. Look what happened to Arsenal with that mentality. And that's better, says Tyrone Williams. I'm from your barber's country. South Carolina. Kickoff is at 7:45. Yes, so we're 27 minutes away. Don't you agree, Mark, that defence must be priority in the summer? Even with our overcautious tactics, we rely on De Gea so much it's scary. Just look at the first leg versus Sevilla. That's from CR719. I think for me the biggest issue with Manchester United really is isn't the defence, it's the midfield. The midfield is just drastically lacking really what we want to see from Manchester United, and that is a bit of pace, a bit of tenacity, and a bit of ability to move the ball. That's what we all want to see from Manchester United. Breach 69, I think he's in a bit of a negative mood at the moment. He says, "What if we lose this game?" I personally don't. Look, of course we can lose it, and maybe. I always say this, don't I? You never know with Manchester United what you are going to get. You never know what you're going to get. But Liverpool Klopp's on the pitch celebrating like he's won the league again. But you never know what you're going to get with United. We don't know whether the players are going to turn up. Any scenario is possible. The players could react to what happened in midweek for one game, then we go back to what we were like before or after the international break. Players could have had enough of Mourinho and not react. You know, you don't know what's going to happen, but I choose to believe that we will win. There is no pace in the midfield, as Breach 69 said there. The midfield is where we need to invest. Mourinho seems to it's not the one thing, but one thing that annoys me about Mourinho is he seems to obsess about height and lack of pace in the midfield. We've seen it with Fellaini, we see it with Matic, he's brought McTominay through. Pogba's not small. He seems to be obsessed by that, and I wish he wasn't, but he is. Moses, thanks for the contribution. In my opinion, attacking football is for a team that has a solid defence. That's why we are lacking at the moment. It's an interesting opinion, Moses, but Liverpool don't have a strong defence. Man City don't have a strong defence. Spurs have got a strong defence, but Liverpool and Man City don't, and they don't seem to have many problems, but it's each their own. Midfield and the ability to give the ball away constantly is the problem, says Mark Robinson. Please say Fenerbahce champion, says Villan. I've just done that. Klopp is a turd, says Jaden Plays. More than happy to say that. Where is Rashford, says Gunjan. He's on the bench. So the bench is De Gea, Lindelof, Fellaini, Young, Rashford, Sanchez, Pogba. Off the top of my head. A few people would like Shaqiri. If your goalkeeper is your player of the season, then you have a dodgy season at best, says Rahul. Well, he's been our player of the season for a long time, isn't he? Can I do a show shirtless, says Gonchalo, Texiari. Well, that's a bit of a worrying statement. And we don't play between the lines, that's the problem, says WR Music. There was a great comment from Paul Robinson a number of weeks ago who said, one thing we don't do and we don't see from Manchester United sides under Mourinho is you've got a player like Mark. Well, if you've just watched Liverpool there, or even if you watch Spurs or certainly City, they'll have a striker who's ready on the line to sort of cut in and make a run in behind the back four. We never do that. Pogba's very good at it, and we've seen it work a couple of times, but we never do that. We never look for that ball to over the top, and we've got the pace to do it. We're very, very slow and lethargic in the way we build up. And that's something I would love to see us improve on. But Mourinho has his certain way of playing, as we all know. Of course he does. And I don't. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Let's see what we get tonight. I just feel everybody in life deserves a second chance, and maybe tonight we will see something from Manchester United a little bit different from what we've seen recently. But regardless, if we go and batter Brighton 10-0, it's Brighton at home at Old Trafford, and we should win that game. And it's what I think the next big test. We've got Swansea 2 weeks today in the Premier League because it's an international break now. And then we've got Man City the week after on the Saturday at 5:30. And if City beat us, they win the title. And regardless, if we beat Brighton 4-0 tonight and we beat Swansea 4-0, if we then go to Man City and get beat and they get crowned Premier League champions, it's the nature of the beast. It's the human nature within. Those people who are Mourinho out now, even if they change a little bit over the next 2 games, they will be Mourinho out again after City, because it's the human nature to be embarrassed and frustrated. Man United fans says 2-1 win for me. Arrogant people like arrogant people, says Red Jedi. Musa T says it's going to be a boring game. And who do you want United to sign this summer, says Marcin. We'll be covering that over the international break, so make sure you subscribe and get involved. Very close to 208,000 subscribers, actually. Look at it. Look at that. We're only 28 short. If you're new to the United Stand, bottom right hand corner, click the subscribe button, click the bell underneath, get your notifications on. We are live every single night at 8 o'clock. We've got fan cams tonight. We've got the call-in an hour after the show as well. I want people to call in and speak about Mourinho as well, because, you know, that was a big day yesterday regardless of the result. I know there's a lot of people with a lot of things to say. My opinions on Salah, says Jack Newell. Salah was my player of the year until last week. I put De Bruyne ahead of him now, because if you come to Old Trafford in a massive game like that and get put in the pocket of Ashley Young, that you've got serious questions about you. So he's a very good player, but De Bruyne is better this season. David Kang, of course you can get a shout out from South Korea. We'll get humiliated at City, and Jose will mug us after that even more, says John Sherrill. Jake Kavanagh says, what's your score prediction? I'm going to go 3 or 4-0. Darani says it's his first time watching, and if we've got any moderators on, if we could just remove John McGuinness from the channel, that would be great. You'll see his comment, Matthew or somebody else. Just remove him. United Stand email is soccerboxtv@gmail.com. Soccerboxtv@gmail.com. Mark, come on, guys. Mr. T. 1-0 to Brighton, says Leyland Blackler. Look, I don't want to contemplate Manchester United losing this game, but if we did lose this game, where do you go from here? This is the sort of lineup that we want to see. I'll tell you where Mourinho goes from here if we lose it. You see Fellaini starting again. I don't want to see that. I want to see this team working and playing well in this scenario tonight, because this is the team that I want to see. I want to see this team. So I really hope it works, because if it doesn't work, where are we? Oh! What's going on here? I've got my live comments back. We're working. We're great. I'm back where I was now, which is good. Very, very happy. Richie Rich loves me. Thanks, Richie. I love you too. Yeah, if we lose... Look, of course we can lose this game. Brighton are a decent Premier League side. I don't personally think Sevilla are that good. If we play like we did on Tuesday night, Brighton might fancy their chances. They came to Old Trafford not long ago. They had quite a good result. It's there's nothing guaranteed in football, but I just think we look. Mourinho's not going anywhere. I'll keep saying this to everybody. Mourinho's not going to be sacked, and he's not going. So for me, the best thing for Manchester United, as a Manchester United fan, the best thing is that this works out. The best thing is that we, this relationship, this management, it works. Because I don't want to go through more and more change for Manchester United. I want it to work. And this tonight can be a part of that. Jose doesn't like being smaller than the club. Love the channel, says Gregor Thompson. Well, Mourinho is Mourinho, isn't he? Mourinho is Team Mourinho, but what he's got to realise is that this is Manchester United and nobody's bigger than the club. Moses says, clone Valencia and put him on the left side, then we'll play attacking football. Well, Luke Shaw's playing tonight. He will get forward more naturally than Ashley Young because he actually has got a left foot. Did I watch Ireland v Rugby? Yes, England Rugby. Jake, I did painfully watch it, but I did live in Ireland for 3 years. My best man's from Ireland. I like Ireland, and I know they'll all be celebrating madly tonight. So fair play. But obviously, I would have wanted England to win. But to be honest with you, to witness a Grand Slam, if England had won, it made no difference anyway, and England need to start rebuilding again. Kethel says, happy St Patrick's Day. I hope if you are Irish or you're out tonight, have a good night. I've been at a few Paddy's Days. Well, it starts at about 11 o'clock in the day, really. By now, you probably can't see. Big Fat says, if Sevilla was all about the way we went out and not going out, why did you call Sevilla the Spanish... Whoa, I can't understand this. If Sevilla was all about the way we went out and not going out, why did you call Sevilla the Spanish... I don't understand that question. I don't think Sevilla are very good. That's why I called them the Spanish Everton. Actually, I would knock that down to the Spanish Southampton, really, because Everton have spent way more money than Sevilla. Dennis Deacon says, the only good thing about Brighton is Moy is a fantastic bargain and ultimate team. I did set somebody the task, and somebody probably did say in the live comments, but could anybody confirm, is this Brighton's strongest team or are they resting players? I can't understand the modern way of football that you would rest players when you are nearly safe in the Premier League and you've got 2 weeks before you play a game because it's an international break. You're in a quarter-final of FA Cup at Old Trafford. Why the hell would you rest players? It makes no sense to me. This is where football's going wrong. Samuel R says, I will never forget those Sevilla games and what Mourinho said about our club deflecting blame. Doesn't matter if he gets it right tonight. Look, Samuel, I don't think you're in the minority. There are some very angry United fans, and whatever happens tonight won't change that, and that's probably right if you are angry. But all I would say is hopefully it can be the start of the way back. Getting closer to 208,000 subscribers. Please subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Share the video and keep getting involved with the United Stand. They've rested Murray. He's on the bench, says Matthew Revel. And We need to attack, says Jaden Plays. Oliver Banks, there you go. Kick-off is in 15 minutes, everyone. Exactly 15 minutes. Yeah, we're live a bit earlier tonight because we've got the team news comes out a bit earlier for the FA Cup. Premier League, it's an hour before, which is a nice build-up. But this is an hour and 15 minutes, so we've had the team news for an hour and 15 minutes. Score prediction, Ollie will go 3 or 4-0. I hope they don't put me to sleep. Somebody loves my haircut. Oh, yeah, this is nice. Yes, it is nice. Matthew says, welcome back, Tyler. I didn't see his comment. Maybe he'll comment again. We're nearly at 1,000 likes as well. I should do more analysis about the opposition. You're right, John. It's very ignorant of me. I only ever really analyse the opposition when they're a decent team. It's very, very, very snobby and arrogant, and I should do more, but we don't. Skype show straight after the show. So if you want to call in about what's gone on in the game, or if you want to call in about what Mourinho has said, that will be straight after the game. The Skype show should be a good one because I think a lot of people will have a lot to say. Do I think Pogba will stay beyond the summer, Rafik? Yes. Jake Kavanagh's just subscribed. Welcome to the channel, Jake. I think Pogba's going to stay. Yeah, I think Mourinho is in a situation that he doesn't really want to be in at the moment with Manchester United. I.e., they're not performing to the standard they need to perform, and he wants them to perform better. I read it. I don't know how accurate it is. I read something that was going around Twitter this morning from Mesutozil's book, who said that Jose Mourinho is actually the most relaxed manager he's ever worked with. He doesn't mind if you go out drinking. He doesn't mind if you're on social media. He doesn't mind anything that you do. What he does mind is if you don't give him 100% on the pitch, and that is where he'll come down on you. So that may be true, may not be true, but it would fit in with the whole Lingard, Pogba, dabbing, dancing stuff, and you know, he doesn't pull them up on that. But what he does pull up people for is the lack of effort, and maybe that is true. I think he needs to be a little bit more controlling, because I think Manchester United, you know, these players shouldn't be given freedom. They should be given a kick up the backside a little bit more. What is the name of our host? Mark Goldbridge. Mark, Shaqiri at United would be a good move. Anything gaming. A lot of people have said that tonight about Shaqiri. I don't mind Shaqiri. I don't know whether he'd be a top 4 standard, to be honest. He might do quite well at Liverpool. Oh, I can't change that to FA Cup now. It will be Premier League. Sorry, that's an error of my myself. Anthony Caro, can we play the attacking football we crave? We'll see, mate. We'll see. I mean, I'm just watching that goal back from Sevilla, and there's 5 players around him when he gets it. I mean, Bailly's got to be tighter, but there's 5 players around him. Frank Sinatra is back from the dead. He says United are going to win 3-0. I hope so, Frank. Sing us a song. I hope we don't park the bus, says Nikhil John. I don't think we'll park the bus, because I think Brighton will probably do that. It's not like Sevilla. I mean, the one thing I would say about Spanish teams is that they are always going to express themselves, and they're always going to give it, aren't they? And they're not really park the bus mentality teams, if that makes sense. But English clubs do come to Old Trafford and look to play on the break. So we won't have the situation we had against Liverpool and Sevilla, where we were at home parking the bus and hitting them on the break. I think against Brighton we're going to have to be more progressive, which will play into the hands of people being more happy anyway, I hope. Well, we're not far away from kickoff. I don't think Fellaini should be on the bench either as well, Eric Bood. I don't. But the reality is, let's just be happy he's not starting. you know, small victories is what we want. Luke Russin says Salah scored 4 goals. He's putting you to shame. Do I need to answer that, or do people in the live comments want to tell him what happened a week ago? Oscar Brainstorm. Luke Shaw has 3 assists and no goals in 474 minutes of professional football his entire career. What makes him good? Yeah, you know, Oscar, I'm not going to come back on that. It's a fair point. It is a fair point. Who is your favourite player from all of the 3 promoted teams, says Where's Ollie? God, remind me who got promoted. Huddersfield, Brighton and Newcastle. Oh, God. I'm pig ignorant. I'm going to tell you, I'm very ignorant to all 3 of those teams. I quite like the bold guy at Huddersfield, the midfielder. What's his name? I forget his name. It's gone from me. 20 years ago, I'd have been able to tell you because I used to know every player of every team. But as you get older, you just focus in on what's important. But I do quite like him. Prashant says Mourinho's played defensive football throughout his career. How can you expect him to change his style now? Again, it's a good point, and it's the rod that I get hit with a lot. I've got the whip marks on my back. But as I've said to you so many times, if Mourinho doesn't change the way he plays football at Manchester United, he will, caps lock, will fail. He will fail because Manchester United fans won't accept that football. So somebody has to tell him that. You know, it's a harsh truth for him, isn't it? You may be Jose Mourinho, I've won this, I've won that, everything else. But unfortunately, Jose, I don't know whether you were employed into a trap here, but if you think you can just keep playing defensive football at Manchester United, you will fail because the fans won't accept it. And also, the only way they'd accept it is if you won a Premier League title, and I don't think you can win a Premier League title playing that brand of football anymore. So he will fail. So I've got to believe, haven't I? You know, I can deal with the despair of losing, but what I struggle with is the hope that things can get better. But I have to hope. Why do we assume right back is sorted? I love Valencia, but we need someone like Red Nev, says Sachin Paul. Well, he's getting old. At the very least, he's getting old. Attack, attack, attack is the United way, says Night Whisper. It is the United way. And I hope it's going to be the United way tonight. Let's go for the league next season, says Pratik. Do you think De Gea will stay, Mark? CR7? Yeah, because the last 2 years I've said he's going to go and he stayed, so I'm going to say he's staying. No. I need to get that right. No, I'm going to say he's going again because I've said that the last 2 years and he stayed, so he's definitely leaving. Tyrone Williams, the United board must feel like the mob did in The Dark Knight when they hired the Joker. Pep is Batman, Klopp is Two-Face, Wenger is Gordon, and we have Joker. Mourinho will get us back to the top next season. Mark my words, says David Ajawumi. I hope you're right, mate. I hope you are right. Shaw is tributed for his offensive and he has 0, says Oscar Brandstorm. And Valencia is not the immediate problem, says Mira Hussein, which is correct. There are a lot of immediate problems. For me, it's the midfield. It's the midfield that is the problem. But we are 6 minutes away from kickoff. I am feeling far more excited about this game than I actually thought I would allow myself to be, because I didn't think he was going to pick a team like this. That pleases me. I think Mata's very important. I think Martial is very important. Lingard, you know, this level, this sort of game, Sevilla, Liverpool, really I don't think is Lingard's cup of tea. But at this level, I think Lingard can be useful. But for me, Martial, Mata, if they turn up today, then Manchester United will win this game. So very, very excited. More excited than I thought I would be. Moses says Brighton's back four is slow and sluggish, 3-1 win. And Danny Dobson says if United were in the Liga, we would be in the relegation zone. Which, to be honest, I think you're right. I think United have always struggled against La Liga opposition. And I did say when we got Sevilla, it's not going to be a breeze walk, but we should win. Snap says, is everybody ready? Well, we've hit 1,000 likes. We've gone past 208,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. Remember, if you are new, click that subscribe button and get involved with the United Stand community. We're getting bigger and bigger, and your voice is getting bigger and bigger. And remember, at full time, you can call in and have your say, or listen to other fans having their say. And we've got fan cams tonight. And regardless of whether it's a routine win or anything like that, I think the fan cams are going to be very interesting tonight, because we are asking a very specific question of every fan we speak to. Mourinho, thoughts on the press conference, is he the right man? It's going to be a very interesting opinion from people at the ground. So keep your eye out for that, whether it's later on tonight, early in the morning, or whatever. So lots of great content for you tonight. And of course, 8 o'clock tomorrow night will be me and Sophie and Flex as well. As per usual, Monday night, Skype Goldbridge as well. So lots of content on the United Stand. Subscribe, get your notifications on, spread the word and get involved. Fantastic community. Pankaj is nervous. Give us your score predictions. Oasis Times says, Salah's trending. When was the last time a United player trended for the right reasons? I was going to say, before you said right reasons, probably Lingard and Pogba having a dance. It's chucking it down with snow. Right, the players are coming out. Clearly, no concerns with calling it off. I always, you know, actually, I feel quite... I don't like Saturday night football. I've got to be really, really honest with people. I don't like Saturday night football. But I've got Jared joining me. Hi, evening, Jared.
How we doing, Mark?
I'm good, thanks. Just mid-flow, and I'll come back to you. I was just saying that I'm not a big fan of Saturday night football in the UK. Obviously, it's a different time for everybody else. But these conditions do very much remind me of a kid. I remember watching games as a kid with the orange ball and an inch of snow on the pitch and literally a quagmire of a match. So you don't really get to see this very often in the modern game. So it's a little bit. There's a little bit of an added sort of nostalgia feel to it. It looks quite bad. I imagine if you're in the ground, it's not going to be that easy to watch. It is coming down, and I think I'll have a look at the weather forecast in a minute, because I looked a couple of hours ago, and I think it is meant to keep coming down for a while. But back on the football, Jared. Thoughts on the team?
Perfect.
You happy with
no
the team?
Fellaini. Yeah, just no Fellaini. I'm happy. I think Sanchez and Pogba I think it's rest more than benching, and I would have started De Gea. At this point, I think. I want him signed, so whatever it needs, or I don't want him to be sitting out of another trophy game. I think that could be very detrimental to his future. So I'm curious if he would start in the next round. But I'm happy with the team.
Yeah,
no Fellaini, I'm happy.
Yeah, I think that was one selection that, you know, obviously I support the manager, but if he'd picked Fellaini tonight, it wouldn't have been enough for me to be Mourinho out, but I would have been very, very concerned about, you know, what his sort of mentality is about Manchester United, and I think thankfully he's not gone down that route, so I'm happy about that. But any concerns tonight, or do you think it'll be we'll see a response?
Well, it's funny, I wasn't concerned about Sevilla, and that did not go well, and I'm not concerned about this. I actually think we're going to crush them. But if we were to lose this game, you know those moments where you're talking about people going from Jose in to Jose out? If the players don't have a reaction to him, then I am more than concerned. But I believe that this is when we're going to see perfect Mourinho. I think you're going to have an unbelievable game, even with the snow.
Crizia Prince, the time is not wrong. We've just not kicked off yet. It just resets itself when the game kicks off. So we're not kicked off yet. Fredney and Googie says Martial will have to turn up since Rashford is back on form. I like to see that healthy competition. I'm going for a 4-1 Manchester United win. Totally agree with that. I like the fact that Rashford looked good on the left a week ago, and Martial should be aware of that. And if we get back to what we saw at the start of the season with those two competing with each other, I'm quite relaxed about that, Jared, as well. I don't mind if one plays 70, the other plays 20, and they swap it around, as long as it's those two on the left and not Sanchez. I want Sanchez central.
Yeah, I think his permanent position should be that 10 role, but again, I think that's for next season. For now, I just want Martial to be in the right position, playing games. And again, I don't know Mourinho's plan with him. I can't figure it out. So at this point, it's one of those situations like, hey, just sign him up, and I'm happy.
A lot of snow coming down. We will keep an eye on that, obviously, because we're keeping an eye on the game. I don't know. Look, there's a lot of empty seats at Old Trafford. That's what I would say. Possibly because of the weather. I think some people will say it's because of the fact that we lost in midweek. I don't agree with that, but surprised we're not playing with an orange ball, to be honest. Playing with a white ball is a bit stupid, but it's the FA Cup, so that's what they do. But the game has kicked off. Whilst have a quick look at the live comments and see what people say. Who can replace Jose? We're not doing that. Jose in says Joachim. Playing football in a winter wonderland, says Simon Little. Yeah, well, yes. Let's hope that the players turn it on.
It's got to be cool to be there in this type of environment. Is awesome to watch football.
Yeah, what you want to be doing really is you don't want to be having to drive home after this.
Right.
You want to have a nice room at hotel football and know that when the match is finished, it's a short walk in the warm, couple of Guinness, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
There you go. Oh, that's not a good story.
But I'm just going to have a quick look at this. Comfortable 2-0 win, in my opinion, says Man United fan. So I'm going to have a quick look at the weather forecast, because somebody said there, is it going to stop snowing during the game? Well, why not have a look for you and have a quick look? When I checked a couple of hours ago, I think it was in for the night, but in Manchester. But
I mean, he does need to get the atmosphere going pretty quickly. There we go.
It could slow down a bit during the game. The reality is it would take something. Happy Valencia is marking Icardi if he plays, says Moses, thank you. It could have an effect, but the reality is the weather, the game has gone ahead, so it would take a hell of a lot for it to get called off. Once you've got everybody in the ground, it's all most games get called off in the UK because of safety concerns with people getting to and from the ground. The reality is everybody's here now; it's kicked off, so it would have to be ridiculously blizzard conditions for it to get called off.
I can't see it being stopped.
But we are. Don't know. I'm looking over there. A couple of minutes in. United just passing it around the back at the moment. McTominay there.
It's not starting, unfortunately. Again, I mean, that's the difference. I want him to build play quickly. I want him to score quickly and then keep this going. You want to build the atmosphere right from the beginning. Sideways passing isn't going to do it. Come on.
That's nice by McTominay, just switching it out to Mata. But I don't think the mentality of United is going to change very, very quickly if it does change. And I do think it can change, but everything's so measured. It's very conservative. It's like there's never that look for the direct pass. It's like overwork it all the time. Martial is going to try and shoot. Get a corner for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they make too much of it. They need to simplify the way they do things.
There is a lot of empty seats, Michael Percy, but I believe that is probably to do with the fact that the weather and, might be slightly to do with the unhappiness with the result the other day. But it's a big game. It's still a big game, Jared, isn't it? It's quarter-final of the FA Cup. It's I wouldn't imagine people haven't turned up because of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible.
The weather's bad. A lot of people... Look, this whole Manchester United fans, you've got to come from Manchester. We all know it's nonsense, and I'm quite proud of the fact that we've got a massive global support. So the reality is there's people who travel from Ireland and There's a lot of people who travel from Ireland actually, and it is St Patrick's Day, and they've just won the rugby, so there might have been a few Irish people who thought, "Oh, I'll give it a skip after Tuesday night." There's a lot of people who travel from all over the UK, and if the weather's bad, it's a night kickoff as well. That's the thing. If it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, finish at 5, you get yourself home, don't you? But if it's not finishing till 10 o'clock on a Saturday night must be brilliant for a lot of our viewers because you've got people all over the world. It's a decent kickoff time. But UK, I don't think we're ever going to get used to playing football at Saturday at 8 o'clock on a Saturday evening. It's not. I mean, do you have that in America much? Do you have a Saturday night game in any of your sports at 8 o'clock?
We normally have Sunday night and Monday night games. Saturday night, not really. Almost never. I mean, maybe in like the end of the seasons or playoffs, but no. Yeah,
it's not really. Well, it's the first one I remember for United was one that messed me right up on the 23rd of December. Was the Leicester one, and I don't like it. Saturday night for me, I don't mind doing Saturday night. United stand at 8 o'clock, have a bit of a Q&A for half an hour, but I like to do things on a Saturday night, and football really, obviously I'm not going to miss it when United are playing, but I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. Matthew McFadden says, thanks Mother Nature for making it easy to show just how many unnecessarily sideways passes we make on the snowy grass. Yes, yes. Matthew, you've given me an idea for a tweet. Love it, love it.
We're going to be fine today. We're going to win. I think it's a moment before we break them open. I do think that comment about Shaw was very interesting. 13,000 minutes of football and 3 assists. It's a very interesting point.
Yes.
Numbers do not lie. But again, I don't think he'll be here either. So, whatever. It's fine. Like Sandro. Mourinho rocking Adidas. Pankaj, you couldn't have gained weight. I'll go with that.
So,
there we go.
I've just nicked it, Matthew, and put it on a tweet. I did change it a little bit. That's not plagiarism if you change something and make it better. But I'll read you out what I tweeted. It was 50. I'll give you an assist on it because what I've put is it'll probably either do really bad or really well. It's had 4 likes already. No hiding place with all this snow. Can literally see the amount of unnecessary sideway passes we make, marking the Old Trafford pitch like a big up yours to our attacking past.
Yeah. Nice work, Matthew. We're going to get attack real soon.
See, that's the difference about McTominay, though. I mean, I suppose it's a bit of a divider. I mean, I'll ask the live comments, who's better, Fellaini or McTominay? And I know a lot of people will say McTominay, but in fairness to Fellaini, he's a Belgian international. He does have his uses. But the reality is, even if you think they're close, the reason most people want McTominay to play for United is because he's not Fellaini, but also because he does look to play a forward pass, and Fellaini can't.
No. I mean, Fellaini's not a Manchester United player. It's a simple answer.
Good play there, Mata and Martial.
Could complicate it as much as we want, but in the end, nobody's ever going to be happy in the long term if he is starting games.
He's got to get rid of him.
Yeah, it's like Jones. You could be happy. He can go on a great run in the beginning of the season, and then just as things hit for him, he gets hurt. So what's the answer? When things are good, you need your players to be healthy. So...
How you want it? I'm going to have a glass. Oh, thanks. There's not much in there.
I don't know. The one thing I will say is it is progress.
Thanks.
As much as it's shitty to watch.
The interesting thing is that it's Brighton are parking the bus, so we mustn't fall into the trap of we're playing attacking football because it's always dictated to by the opposition, isn't it? Liverpool and Sevilla wanted to get at us, so we looked very defensive, which we were. Brighton don't want to get at us. They want to keep compact and hit us on the break. So it makes us look like, I'm not going to, I want to be saying to everybody, look, we're playing more attacking. And we are, because simply Brighton are defensive. But we're not. It's hard to judge whether we are playing attacking because Brighton are playing so deep at the moment.
I mean, you knew they weren't going to come and attack. So at this point, we're going to have to break them open.
Alexander says, is that snow on the pitch? No, someone just spilt a big bag of sugar. I don't know. It's hard to tell if it's snowing now because they've actually adapted they'll adapt the camera, won't they? You can't, on live TV, you can't tell if it's snowing or raining because you don't get to see it. But Matthew McFadden says, no, it's £15 billion worth of coke. Switch it, Lingard, switch it. He's got a cross here, Sanchez. Look, Luke, see, that's a good point. Luke Shaw there gets a good opportunity to put a cross in and it's rubbish. You know what? I'm a big fan of Luke Shaw, but I do agree with you, Jared, and I agree with what a lot of people say at home. He's probably finished at United, and I think if he is, I've sort of become fed up of sort of saying he's got to play Luke Shaw now. All I know is it can't be Ashley Young next season. Let's go and sign Alexandro, and let's stop moaning about selections that Mourinho doesn't want to play. Just let Mourinho pick the team he wants to pick, I suppose, as long as it's not Fellaini.
Yeah, I think we're going to be doing a lot of business with Juventus this summer, and I think that Shaw is never going to stay fit. So it's these same problems. You need people with a good injury record, and the worst thing you can have is someone who can't play 4 games together without going off.
Although he has been fit since September, to be fair. He's just not played that much, has he?
But again, we think he's fit, but has he played a run of games enough to show that he can sustain fitness while playing? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't. He gets breaks, so we don't know what the real thing is. Maybe he can play 90 minutes and then he needs a game off. I don't know. But again, I think wingbacks this summer are going to be extremely important. We'll be signing multiple. And then I think you're going to sign a center back. And hopefully Milinkovic-Savic. I mean, again, we're controlling the game. It's just boring. We're not going to sell Pogba. It's ridiculous. To be given $180 million, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think Pogba's going to go. It's one of those situations where I quite like it because I don't really like player power. Pogba's not in a position of strength. He's not playing well. He was bought for a massive amount of money. For us to sell him, you'd have to double it because the market's gone up massively. Would anybody want to pay 150, 180 million for Pogba at the moment? No. Would United sell him for anything less than that? Of course not. He's going to have to book his ideas up, which is good for United.
Yeah, I mean, De Gea, I understand. It's a little more reasonable of a discussion, even though he cannot leave. But the point is, he still has 1 year left. That's understandable. Pogba isn't going anywhere. There's so much money invested in him on a marketing angle from Adidas that it would never happen. Ever. If anything, controversy probably sells more jerseys for them.
Too many. The thing is, United are on the attack here, but again, there's still too many sideways passes because no one wants to just try. And then even if you lose it, so what? Just play that forward pass when you're approaching the penalty box. Look for that penetration pass.
I mean, there's 10 men behind the ball, but there's got to be a way to break them. It's Brighton. There we go.
I also don't feel that Jesse Lingard's a number 10.
No, he does, but he's not. You know what? He's a number 10 as a sub, and then in these games, he's not a number 10 against Man City.
No.
Talk about a comparison. Is Lingard ever going to compare to Salah? No. That's the type of players we want in this team.
Mm. Lion Pride says it's not going to get any better under Jose. And okay, so why is he on the bench? Says Owani, who's obviously going to chat with somebody else. Feel free to chat with yourselves in the live comments. That's the whole point. Pogba needs to grow up, says Sibongonshi Makomi, and this summer sign Sandro, Umtiti, Milankovic, Kadira and Luis Alberto. I'd certainly sign Sandro. I think he'd make us a big difference. It's hard to tell if it is still snowing. People are saying it's...
looks like it stopped.
Yeah, it looks like it's stopped, but, you know, the camera angles, maybe it hasn't, I don't know.
It's definitely not as heavy as it was. Yeah, I mean...
No,
left back wise, either Sandro or Gaia would be great. Gaia, I mean, those are excellent. There are just certain people that Jose's done with. And you know what? If that's why he's playing like this more consistently, whatever. That's what I'm telling myself. I really do believe Mourinho is not only the guy to get us to the Premier League title, but he's had 3 transfer windows. After this, he'll be ready. He'll be ready. Going against someone with no budget. I will tell you this, after this summer, he's out of excuses.
Yes, I do agree with that. I think, you know, this is the last summer, really, where he can have any excuses about building, because it will be 3 summers. And, you know, I know he's talking about 5 years. I don't get this 5 years thing. And never in my footballing life have I seen a football club that takes 5 years to build. It's not... You know, look at Blackburn Rovers all those years ago. Look at Chelsea. Look at Man City. It didn't take 5 years to go from having the cash injection to winning a title. It doesn't take 5 years, and I won't fall into that trap with him. For me, I agree with you, Jared. It's this summer and then next season. And I'm not saying we've got to win the Premier League next year, because I do believe that what he's up against and what everybody's up against with Man City is... I think if you took Man City out of the Premier League this year, we'd have probably one of the best Premier League races ever. You look at what Liverpool are doing. Obviously, we beat them last week. Spurs aren't far behind. You took Man City out, this league would be very exciting. But the reality is Man City have been in superhuman form. Yes, it's been helped by the fact he's had an open checkbook, but they have played good football as well. If Man City did this again next year, I don't expect us to win the Premier League, and that wouldn't be enough for me to say Mourinho out, because you're just up against something that's ridiculous. But we've got to be a lot closer.
I think the problem is people will get very frustrated by the way he plays. So if we don't get major trophies, it's never going to work. It's a divorce waiting to happen. In the end, the fan base will deal with anything if you can bring home a Champions League trophy or a Premier League title. At that point, nobody would say anything. And anyone who did, it would be a small minority. But right now, we're going for an FA Cup, 2nd place. That's it. It's not sufficient for this fan base, and it should never be. But he's right. He came in with terrible deadwood in this team. So I think you have to back a guy who can come back at Palace, who can beat Liverpool when they're playing like this, who's got us in 2nd place. Results matter. That's all.
Gregor Thompson says it took Sir Alex Ferguson longer. I do like that opinion, because I used to come out under David Moyes and I used to quash it then, so I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't do it under Mourinho, even though I support Mourinho. But this comparison with how long it took Sir Alex Ferguson is the most unrealistic argument I've ever heard, because this was a different world. Manchester United hadn't won a title in over 20 years. Liverpool, the late 80s, were probably the best team England's seen in a long, not the best team, but one of the best teams, and they were dominant and they were in their prime. Sir Alex Ferguson took over in '86. We didn't win a title until the early 90s, but through those late 80s, Liverpool were just immense. Also, it's a different world, a totally different world. What he inherited wasn't a club where you had people like Paul Pogba in it. He did spend money, but you didn't go and buy the best players from around the world then. Our squad should be doing a far better job than it is, and I think if Sir Alex Ferguson was given the riches that Van Gaal and Mourinho's had, then United wouldn't have took so long to win a title. It was totally different circumstances, and I lived through it. So it's unfair to say, oh, it took Sir Alex Ferguson so many years. For one, it was a different lifetime as well. You can't compare English First Division to what we have with the Premier League now.
Well, yeah, there weren't even computers back then. So talk about Instagram and a whole nother level of a player and a brand. There were no brands. What just didn't exist. You just played and then you went home.
Well, exactly. Like in the late 80s, my mum and dad split up, and I used to get my dad on a Saturday, because he used to have me. He got hold of a Forest season ticket, and he used to take me to watch Forest. And a lot of people say, "Oh, you're a Forest fan." Well, no, I'm not a Forest fan. I grew up as a Manchester United fan because of my granddad. But the reality is, in the late 80s, there was no Premier League, there was no Sky Football. You had no idea about international football or any other league unless you saw it in the World Cup. And you used to get one game a week on a Sunday afternoon called The Match on ITV, which wouldn't be Manchester United. It would be maybe United once every couple of months, but it would be every team. So apart from Match of the Day and teletext, which was something you used to put into your telly, and code would come up telling you the score that would change every minute. There was no internet, there was no nothing. So you didn't really get to watch your team unless you were lucky enough to go up and watch them up in Manchester, which was never going to really happen for me. So, you know, I was more than happy to just go and watch football as a kid because I loved it. But, you know, and I was fortunate in the late 80s to go and see United play 3 or 4 times as a young lad. But the world was a different world for football then. And I mean, I remember when the Premier League first started, was it 92? And even in Sky for the first years, the only game was Sunday at 4 o'clock. You know, what we get now is just, I think youngsters would not understand how difficult. I mean, the one thing I always say, there's nothing happening in the game at the moment, but the one thing I always say is, you look at those clips of George Best that they show, and everyone goes, what a player he was. The scary thing about George Best is, less than 5% of his career is actually on camera, because hardly any games were actually filmed. So all these clips of George Best are just from those games that he played in that were televised, which were few and far between. Can you imagine how, you know, George Best was one of the best players that ever lived, and you can see that from the limited clips there are of him. But imagine if we had everything, you know, if we had every bit of his, you know, if you want, Messi's whole career is out there if you want it, on you know, everything he's done in his career is on video somewhere. George Best, we got less than 5%, and it's still fantastic. And that's the change in football over the last 20 years. You know, you get so much of it now. There's no excuse not to know about any player, whereas back then you did. And we've moved off a little bit there, but and that's not always a good sign with United, is it? But
no. Well, let's just call it a composed half.
Yeah, we're not parking the bus because Brighton are parking the bus. So, in a way, it sort of exposes our problem that we're not able to break a team down.
You can't have 2 buses that don't move. You can see the problems in this team. Corner. Oh. Right over. Let's play by Shaw.
Just got to be patient though, you know, we're not actually that used to... here we go! Oh, it dropped to Martial, and his first touch wasn't... I don't think he was expecting it from the cross.
No.
I think if he'd known, he would have just hit it first time.
I think he thought Lingard was going to get it. But he should have done better there. The bye's been excellent. I'm glad he's back.
The one thing I do, I say the one thing a lot because it's not the one thing. I have more than one thing to say, as many people say. But what I would say about Martial, I'm a big fan of his, but I would agree with people that he's stepping into that territory now in a team like this, where when he starts, it's not. I think we go, oh, Martial, he's great potential. He's great potential. He's got to start becoming Martial starting. He's got to start moving into that Eden Hazard area, the De Bruyne area, the Salah area, where when he starts, we know he's a great talent. He's got to be that great talent. Although, to be fair, I must also say, it's still a little bit early for him because he's only just turned 22. And this is what I say about Rashford and Martial is people are like, oh, they're not as good as De Bruyne and Salah. Well, De Bruyne and Salah are in their prime years as far as I'm concerned. I think they're like mid-20s, aren't they?
Well, you also got to remember, probably the most valuable thing a player can have is the ability to play in another league and come back. Salah, De Bruyne, most successful people leave and come back. So it's interesting. It's like once you play in the Premier League, you almost seeing another league and how it is different allows you to come back to this league and be better. Which is why I'm curious about people like Pereira who could come back and what he would bring to this team. I think he would have been more creative than 80% of the people on this team. I think he would have fit in like a glove. So I don't know. I think Martial will always be a fan favorite, and we see the potential there. But if you ask me, like, would I rather him or a Dybala? At this point, Dybala has shown how good he is. Martial, right now, we base it on potential and moments. So, I don't know. I think Martial is showing quality, but it's not consistent enough.
For people who just want a bit of an update on the game, pretty much Brighton parking the bus, trying to hit us on the break, and United, a bit like I suppose a bit like a virgin in a pawn shop. You know, it's been a while. It's been a while. So they don't really know what to do. They don't really know how to attack, and we've not. This is always going to be the problem. Yeah, we want to attack, but it's gonna take a while if we're going to go down that route, which I believe we have to. It's going to take a while to sort of get used to being that sort of team again, and I don't think it's been a bad start. And I think, you know, moaning about bringing certain players on, I don't think Sanchez or Pogba make a big difference at the moment. I just think it's just United not really high on confidence and used to playing this way.
No, I mean, they play slow.
Yeah, we are too slow. We're way too slow, aren't we?
I mean, at this point with the snow, I'm almost nervous by he's playing.
The thing is, though, we've got to win this game, haven't we, Darren and everyone at home? I mean, we can talk about. I think there's a sadistic side. There is a sadistic side to people. I remember when I made my mind up at Christmas that I wanted Van Gaal to go. So from Christmas to May, I was like, I wanted United to win, but when then we didn't win, there was that sadistic, "Oh, I told you so" sort of thing. But I don't think we can have that at the moment with Mourinho, because I think we've got to at least win the FA Cup, and that means winning tonight and getting in the semi-final. The reality is, I said it the other night, the sad thing is we're in the middle of March and we haven't got a midweek game between now and the end of the season, which for a team of Manchester United's size is embarrassing. I don't want to be now having a situation where we've got no cup football to look forward to. So there's, you know, I don't think anybody consciously wants us to lose tonight, but I know, because I know what it was like when I was Van Gaal out. If we did lose tonight, sadistically, it'd be like, you know, those people who don't want Mourinho will be like, "Oh, I told you so." I don't think we can afford that. I don't think winning the FA. I want to win the FA Cup because it's a great trophy to win. It doesn't make the season a success, as we know, because Van Gaal won it and got the sack. So.
Look, it helps stat line for Mourinho. It's cool for A to win the trophy, but in the end, there's 2 trophies we care about. The rest of them are whatever. They're a day out, you know, and it's fine. But I mean, the play sucks, but who's going to do it better? I think that's the problem that I continue to run into. Mourinho is the right person because there's nobody better for the situation that we're in. He'll have a 12-minute press conference. He doesn't care. I just don't know. Again. He kills youth sometimes, and it's very frustrating. It's the one thing I can't get over. But
Tom Free makes a good point. 26 minutes, no shot on goal. This is the problem with Manchester United.
Yes. I mean, it's Brighton. There isn't no excuse. And you know he's waiting to bring on Pogba and Sanchez if things aren't going right, but I don't know. At this point, I thought Sanchez would be starting, scoring, and moving on. It's frustrating with him. Yeah, I agree. Luis Enrique and Allegri are interesting coaches. But again, Mourinho's the right guy. It's not a question. I look at specific things that are about to happen that will show more than that. De Gea won't stay if he doesn't believe we can win things. So if Mourinho can't convince him, hold on. Martial. Oh. If Mourinho can't convince De Gea to stay, I would get concerned. If Martial leaves for nothing or money, I would get concerned. If they stay, I don't care.
Well, Brighton haven't had a chance either. It's been a bit of a dull game in relation to chances created. Hayden says it's a pathetic performance so far, and Mark says Brighton will win this. Salah just scored 4 goals in one game. How many did he score against us last week when Ashley Young marked him? I don't look. I've watched football for many years, and over those years, I've seen people like Kevin Phillips score 40 goals in a Premier League season, or however many he got. You know, don't fall into traps of 4 goals in one game. Jermaine Defoe did it. the reality is a top player is judged on what they do in the top games, and he did sod all last week.
No.
See, I liked that from McTominay there. The pass didn't come off, but if it came off, Lukaku's one-on-one. It doesn't come off, but it gets the crowd going because it's that attempt to do it, which we never do, and I'm impressed by that. I mean, Tomlin maybe it was a bit unfair when I said I think he'll end up playing for Preston North End, but if he does, hit it. That deserved a goal. That play between Martial and Mata deserved a goal. Absolutely superb.
I like Mata. Seems to get creative people to be creative when he's on the pitch.
Go on, Smalling. Oh, is it the post?
Post.
I don't want to see Smalling get in the post again. I want to see that play between Mata and Martial. Brilliant. 1-2's wonderful, says SB. That's what I want to see. I want to be entertained. Just give us some entertainment.
Yeah.
Don't care if we lose. Smalling should have scored there.
We don't want to lose.
I think Mata and Martial have had a good start. Yeah, I agree. A few people are saying that. I think McTominay's played well. The 3 M's, M and M and M.
I mean, I like McTominay. He's getting more physical. He's coming into his own. And what is he, 18 or something? I mean,
I'll tell you what, he's winning me round. And I'll always admit when I'm wrong. And I wasn't wrong about McTominay. I just said he wasn't. I don't think he's better than Twan-Sebi, and I still believe that. But what I've always said is when people like Michael Carrick and Mourinho and Sir Alex, careful, Bay, there, but yeah, good play, Smalling. When they're saying there's something about him, there's got to be something about him. And I just like the fact that he wants to play a forward pass.
Yeah. I mean, he's young, and he looks like he's already better than certain people who we don't want to play, so he's doing his job.
Jack Newell says Martial's so entertaining, it's frustrating Mourinho doesn't want to play him. I think he's got to play him more because the thing about Martial is not everything he does works. But that's not a reason to be critical. Oh, good save, Romero, from the corner. Not everything you do in football works. If you watch Ronaldo or Messi, not everything they do works. I've seen Ronaldo miss some right sitters and Messi. But it's what they do when it comes right that others can't do. And I think Mourinho just wants a team where everything somebody does works 100% of the time. So he knows with Fellaini he'll give 100%, and when he gets the ball he'll always play a successful 5-yard pass. Whereas with Herrera will try the 20-30 yard forward pass, and 60% of the time it'll work and 40% it won't. As United fans, we want to see the Herrera passes over the Fellaini's, but Mourinho is more pragmatic and conservative and knows that Fellaini's pass, although it's sideways or backwards in 5 yards, we retain possession. When you've got possession, that gives you the control of the game. But United's risk averse. We need to be risk averse. As long as it's attacking, let's be risk averse.
I mean, I just think the problem is Fellaini does a job, but he's not a creative human. It's not exciting to watch. He does what Mourinho wants, but not what we want. So, to your point, it's very difficult to be behind a person who doesn't do much more than keep the game from speeding up.
The thing for me about remember, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I know we get a lot of new people watching when it's a watch along. Please do share it. You can click the share button below. Subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. We've got a call in straight after the game. We want people's opinions on Mourinho, not just the game. And we've got the fan cams where we're going to be asking the fans what they think about Mourinho. All those fans that are there. There's quite a few empty seats, but the thing that has always baffled me, and I don't know what people on the live comments think, or you, Jared, is that I never think we should have bought Fellaini, and I'll blame Moyes for that till the day I die, but he's been here for 3 managers, and all 3 of those managers have been obsessed by him, and all United fans don't get it, but we've had 3 managers obsessed by him, and 3 managers who've played him as a defensive midfielder. Now, I know Fellaini from his Everton days. I used to put him in my fantasy Premier League team because he used to get quite a few assists and goals. He doesn't get many of those at United because he plays as a midfielder. I've never understood with Fellaini why we've never really played him in the position that he's best at. Now, I've heard Fellaini himself say I'm a midfielder. Well, you know what? When I play five-a-side on a Friday night, I'm a centre-forward. Where you think you are is a different matter. But Fellaini, for me, is a number 10 because you can hit him with the ball. I remember when we used to play against Everton, Leighton Baines would hit it up to Fellaini on the edge of the box, and he would be a nightmare for Vidic and Ferdinand. But he's not a nightmare for anybody in the centre circle because he's slow, he can't pass, and he's just not a midfielder. But I don't understand why we've never played him as a number 10.
I just don't want to play him. I don't know either.
Well, that's a fair
but
point.
at this point, I don't get it. There has to be something in the locker room that goes on, but I mean, whatever. Come on. I hope PSG sign him and enjoy him, and I hope he brings them a title, another a 17th French title. Good for them. Goodbye.
See, I'd rather see this 11 play the 90 minutes, but I guarantee you, if it stays 0-0, he'll make those changes where it is Fellaini and it is Sanchez for Martial. And that's what irritates me about Mourinho as well. It's always the same substitutions. You know, it'll be Martial coming off, it'll be Mata coming off, and it'll be Sanchez going out onto the wing. And I think you know these are players you've got to give them. Like Martial's trying to push people forward there because he knows we're so static and sideways passing, and it's not the way to play football. But I hope he gives this team at least an hour, 70 minutes because
I don't want to see someone like Martial subbed off at half, for example. He hasn't done anything wrong. There we go. Perfect play.
I think Martial's probably been our best player with Mata.
Mm-hmm. That's very possible, Sanders. He could do that.
You know, in a team that's clearly lacking confidence and nervous, I think Martial's shown a lot of leadership and really tried to, get things going. He wants to be on the ball. Lingard's disappeared. I haven't noticed he's even playing.
Yeah, I mean, and also, didn't he used to play for Brighton?
Lingard?
Yeah. Or where did he get? I mean, where was he?
Well, maybe he was at Brighton. I know he was at Birmingham on loan. I don't know whether he went to Brighton on loan as well. I mean, he might be right, yeah.
Yeah, because I was wondering. But it's interesting. Lingard, I don't know. Whatever. As I said, there's certain people that need to go from this team. I'm not so sure he's one of them. But he's not a startable player in big games. He should be coming through in games like this because he's getting space. So you would figure he would find times to make opportunities, but he's not.
The thing is, if you move the ball quick, like we saw that little bit of play between Mata and Martial a few minutes ago where it was quick 1-2s. If you move the ball quick... Yes! Come on! 1-0, Lukaku. Matic with the cross. Lukaku puts in on the back post. And I'm glad they've got that because it's all about building the confidence up, isn't it? It's all about building that confidence. And yes, I don't want this team to be classed as a failure because it's the team that we want to see it playing.
I mean, again, Lukaku, again. I mean, what a change. He's awesome.
Lovely cross by Matic as well. I mean, if Fellaini scores that, people will be going, oh, what a goal by Fellaini. I'm not going to pretend because Lukaku scored that. I'm not going to jump into Lukaku's... I could have scored that header, but he's put it in the back of the net. It all comes from Matic's cross. But the reality is, 1-0 up, and I'm pleased with that because I think it is a team. It's a rebuild, isn't it? And there's nothing. This team's not doing anything wrong, so I want it to do well. It's not far off the 11 we want to see. So I want it to see do well. I don't want to see Mourinho having to make subs at 0-0 after an hour and then we don't see this 11 again. I want this team to do well and show him that they are good players.
I mean, job done so far. Again, Lukaku has been excellent. And I can understand why Mourinho relies on him so much.
I just think with Lukaku, it's very simple. He's not Messi. He's not Ronaldo. You can't knock the ball into his feet, and he's not going to run past 4 players, and he's not going to play a killer pass. But if you give him a chance, he scores a goal. That's what a striker should do. And I think for too long over the last few months, we haven't been providing him with service. Recently, I remember that game recently where Mata put a cross in at the front post. He gets there with his left foot. He puts it away. You put a cross in like that, he'll score goals. Lukaku needs chances, and that means he needs to play in a team that wants to create chances.
Yeah, I mean, the more creativity we have, the more chances he gets, and the more chances he can convert. But what he just did was nice. That's his job. And I'm telling you, like, out of form, Lukaku misses that. So, fair play.
Christopher Morton's right. When you look at the two teams from a talent point of view, United should be looking to win this game 3 or 4-0. But, you know, small steps forward. We're winning at the moment, and hopefully that will sort of open up a little bit more space. Dees TV says Mourinho needs confidence to stick to one start 11. Yeah, I think that's a big point. I think we do need to start playing a regular 11 and stop changing it week in, week out, depending on the opposition, because it's a cowardly mentality, really, that you will change your 11 based on who the opposition is. You don't see Barcelona doing that. You don't see Real Madrid. You don't see Liverpool doing it. You know, they have their way of playing, and they have confidence in that. And of course, you're aware of the opposition, but you don't set your team up to be totally based around who your opposition is. It's not really, again, it's not the United way, and it's a mid-table small club mentality to play like that.
Well, I mean, if you look back on Mourinho's past, when he has won titles, he has stuck with the same team and a very small team. So I, again, have started to wonder if he is using this season, now that it's where it is, to test out teams and to find his 11, because maybe he still hasn't found it, which, again, he's consistent. His whole career, he keeps the same people. He does not switch lineups, and he hasn't found a consistent 11 or formation all season, or since he started here. So it's very interesting that is, you know, he hasn't stuck with the same team. That's not how he has had. It's not how he's coached in the past. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't believe he's found the right people for himself yet. And until he does, he's never going to play the way we want to see.
Come on, Valencia, you got to do better, quicker than that when you're in the box. I think Mata's been good, Martial's been good, Lukaku's got the goal, Matic and McTominay have been good, but Lingard for me is just, that's the position where I think Sanchez has got to come in, and that would improve us a hell of a lot. I think Lingard's just not a number 10. I think swapping with Mata or swapping with Sanchez off the bench, that's where...
Yeah, I mean, long-term, Lingard is not going to be in that position starting big games. Again, but he's fine to start games like this. He really is. There's never been a single shot here where we've really felt they were going to score. They had one corner that Romero did fine on, but any goalie, you know, would have saved that shot. So again, we've done the job.
Interesting comment here from Josh Bates. Thanks for the contribution, Josh. He said, had to turn it off. I've watched every game, even pre-season, for the last 5 years, but I can't watch this anymore. I feel the football is too boring week in, week out. Since Liverpool away, parking the bus, it ruined our season. Interesting. What do you think in the live comments? What do you think about that, Jared? Even though we're 1-0 up, he's had enough.
Look, I get it. It's unfortunate, but stick with him. Again, it's not like watching Liverpool, to be frank, and that's unfortunate. Not that they're just playing good football. Man City play good football. It's frustrating to watch, but you have to hope that next season's a big season for us. You have to, because this season we don't have real trophies to win.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. If we were playing Man City now with this team, they'd beat us 3 or 4-0, but we're not going to suddenly go from what happened on Tuesday night to a team that can beat Man City. This is going to have to be a process. Mourinho calls it a process. Whether it's acceptable 2 years in that we're having to go through a process again, I don't know. But it is going to be a slow process. I think we have to accept that. And
it doesn't happen
small
overnight.
steps. As I said 20 minutes ago, this is not a game that sadistically anybody who's Mourinho out should want us to lose anyway. We're out of the Champions League. The league, at the end of the day, second, third or fourth, of course I want to finish second, but the reality is the main thing is just to get Champions League football next year, and an FA Cup is the minimum that we can sort of hope for now, so we've got to try and do that.
Yeah, I mean, we want Champions League next year. I'd love to see an FA Cup run, which we should have. We want more. It's natural for a big fan base. We want more.
Back in a minute.
We're controlling the game. Brighton, they have a throw. I'm curious in the live comments, what do you guys think about the game? Boring? Happy with the result? Come on, I mean, slow process spent $490 million. To be fair, is $490 million when people are charging you 2 times what everyone else pays a lot of money. Just consider it. Fergie never had to go against money like this. Still the greatest manager of all time, but different element and different time period.
I suppose the interesting thing about this game is, I was just thinking about it there, is that the performance is a bit like United's fan base at the moment, isn't it? It's a divisive performance because those who want it to change will go, well, I can see some positive parts to it. Those who are Mourinho out or aren't happy with it will still see negative in it.
Listen, you have to also remember the entire media narrative is getting Mourinho out. So the problem is that even if it's a small amount of the fan base that wants him out, the media will find a way to amplify it. So it's an internal situation. I think Mourinho ignores them, and I think the problem is that we take it and we blow it up a little bit with the media because, again, they want him to fail. They want Pep to succeed in every way. They want Klopp to succeed in every way. They want Pep to literally take England to new heights. But Mourinho they hate for some reason. So this is what we deal with.
Well, the thing is, you're right there with the media. The media should not be listened to because it was literally 2 months in. Mourinho had been here 2 months, and the Sun went with he'd lost the dressing room. So it just shows you the regardless of whatever you think about Mourinho, the fact is that the hate from a lot of the media against him is an agenda and an unfair agenda.
Right.
What fans think, educated fans who watch us week in, week out, I think you can listen to that. But there is an agenda against Mourinho from the press, and you mustn't listen to that. I mean, even when we beat Liverpool last week, if you watch Sunday Supplement on Sky, it was a vitriol of anti-United stuff, even though we'd won the game. So
there's 7 penalties that were missed. Again, it's a joke. It's a joke, but it's what we put up with off to halftime.
So half-time, Manchester United 1-0 up. Lovely cross from Matic, Lukaku getting on the end of it. A simple finish for Lukaku, but as I said, if you give Lukaku chances, he will score goals. That's what we've not been doing for a number of weeks. It's very, very difficult to, we were discussing it there, it's very, very difficult to judge United on this game, and I don't think whatever the result, I think the main thing is to get through this result and get into the semi-finals of the FA Cup. But it will be very hard to judge this performance today anyway, because we're facing a team that's come to Old Trafford and parked the bus. Whereas United over the last couple of games have parked the bus themselves, we're playing a team that's parking the bus, which forces us to attack. And we do look, like, to coin the phrase from the first half, we do look a bit like a virgin in a pawn shop who doesn't really know what they're doing, because we don't and haven't attacked for so long that we've been a little bit confused and slow. But at times there's been glimpses and the goal was good. But I don't think we'll come out of this game either way knowing whether... apart from the lineup that he's picked, which I'm very pleased, I don't think we'll learn a lot. I still think we're going to be looking at that Man City game in 3 weeks' time, and that's when we're going to see if Mourinho is starting to change his mentality at United. There is a lack of creativity, says Rashid, and Janish says, apart from the goal, what did we create? A lot of ball around the final third, but not really any risk takers. For me, I thought Martial and Mata played well. I think Matic and McTominay did a good job. I think Lukaku's obviously got the goal, and you give him chances, he'll score goals. I think if there's one position I would look to change in the second half, and whether Mourinho will do it or not is open for debate, Jared, is I would take Lingard off. I think we've seen Lingard play number 10 in 2 games now, and it's just not... There's no creativity from that position when Lingard plays there. At the end of the day, unless he can turn and run into space and run past a couple of players and score a good goal, that's Lingard's game. He hasn't got the craft or guile a number 10's needed, and I think that is something United massively miss when we play the 4-2-3-1. You need somebody in that position who can create, and we haven't really created.
I'd love to see Pogba play there. I mean, I don't know. but Lingard will be taken off around 60 minutes, and I assume he'll bring on Fellaini to torture us and ruin
Part of the bus
lives.
for the last 20 minutes to win a game. I'll tell you what, if he does that, that's going to be very interesting. We don't want to see that.
No.
Dracula says Martial is miles better than Sanchez. Well, Rashford's better than Sanchez on the left wing. Alexis Sanchez shouldn't be on the left wing. Play him as the number 10. Lingard should never start, says MA. Lingard is a poor footballer, says Andrew Ellis. Bring on Sanchez to see what he's got, says Dot J. I'd love to see Sanchez or Pogba in that number 10 position. David De Gea says Matt has been the best so far. Always moves around, great off the ball. I think him and Martial have played well. Mark, do you think Martial will be here in the summer? Hard to say because I don't think Shaw will be, and he's starting. The fans are chanting Jose Mourinho, says AL's fun. Good. Jesse is a squad player, says McDonald Sebel. I'd agree with that. And Mourinho won't sub Lingard. He runs around a lot, and Mata is perfect for number 10, says Lamia Sead. And United fans are so fickle it hurts, says Ian Beale's dad.
Some are.
Somebody said, great channel, but what you miss is that these days attacking is pragmatic. I don't think Liverpool or Spurs or Man City or Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich, I don't think they're pragmatic in their attacks. I think they take risks. And they have so many attacks that even if those risks don't... I mean, I watched Liverpool for half an hour today, and not every one of their attacks come off. But in a 20-minute period, they'll have 10 creative risks, and 5 of them will come off and 5 won't. But those 5 that come off will lead to a chance. United, in 20 minutes, won't make any risk attack moves, so we don't create any chances. I think Mourinho's pragmatism is he doesn't want risks that don't come off. But if you don't take risks, you don't create chances. And if you watch Liverpool especially, Man City as well, the best attacking teams, not everyone... Just because you watch highlights on Match of the Day and every attack they do comes off, if you watch the game, not all their chances that they try to create come off. There'll be a misplaced pass or an overplaced pass, but they're trying to do it. And we don't try to do it enough. That is the problem. McTominay's been good, I agree, Maltasia. I'm always going to put a retainer that this is Brighton parking the bus, and there's a lot of space in that midfield. McTominay's been good. Yeah, go on. Sorry, Joe.
Interesting comment. Mourinho says process. At what point of the process does the football style change? What exactly do we need? It's an interesting comment, because I don't know what the answer is.
Well, I mean, I read this in the hour before the kickoff, and I'm going to read it again because I think it's probably the best explanation I've seen that is the problem with United fans and Mourinho at the moment. Because it's not a massive problem, it's just Mourinho. This is the tweet, I'll read it. Mourinho clearly missing the point. I'm not overly arsed when we get knocked out of competitions. We don't have a divine right to win everything. It's the manner in which we get knocked out that's the problem, and he's failing to address that on the pitch or in interviews. And that is it. For me, for a lot of people in the live comments, it's like, yeah, your 15-minute press conference was interesting from a spectator point of view, but you didn't address the issue that United fans aren't booing you because we're not winning the league or we're not winning the Champions League. We're booing you because, well, I'm not booing you because I don't agree with that, but they're unhappy because the manner of the defeat, the manner of the tactics, it's not Manchester United. And that is it. It's the start. At what point does the process change is a very relevant point, because people are unhappy because of the style of football. That is it. It really is that simple. And I don't know whether... I mean, we're going to be live for an hour after the game, and you can Skype in and have your say. So I hope you rejoin us after the game and do call in and have your say, because I do want to... If this ends up being a routine 1-0 win or 2-0 win, which I always predicted it would be, then I'd rather spend the hour afterwards talking about Mourinho, because that's the big thing. And is this a small step forward or is it more of the same? Will be down to you lot. But it's... I don't know whether his part of the process is to play better football. I don't know.
No, I mean, again, I think I don't know that we would be hearing many complaints if we were challenging City. I don't think you'd hear any complaints. It's a results business. So when we're watching people win, nobody's happy. People want to blame someone. Mourinho's the manager. If he doesn't play exciting football, it's very easy to pick on the I think. I think next year, if we are not challenging for the title and he's playing like this, he has problems. If we're challenging for the title and he's playing like this, no one cares. They say they care, but I genuinely believe that if we're beating Man City and we're playing like this, people are happy. So I think if he stays first place, people are quiet. These type of situations, it's not as easy for him.
Lynn Hall has said that Paul Scholes says still too slow, improved. We should get the ball to Martial quicker. He looks most likely to do damage. You know, if people don't like what I just said, Paul Scholes has just backed it up as well. Martial looks the most dangerous player, and we don't move the ball quick enough. We're just not on the front foot enough. So, look, small steps, but I've got to agree with Mourinho that I don't agree with Mourinho in relation to how long he thinks this is going to take, but I do agree with the word process, because we've hit a nasty wall against Sevilla, and it was never going to be all solved tonight. It's all going to be it's going to take time. It's going to take time.
It's going to take time. But again, I think if he gets the people he wants and he sounds happy over the summer and he's not bitching and moaning and he gets the people, I really think we could challenge for the title. I understand what's going on around us, but I think people misunderstand. He's never going to play attacking football. It's never going to happen. So if he gets the team that he wants, maybe in these perfect situations, he could challenge for the title.
I think if you took Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, Nicky Butt, Ryan Giggs, Phil Neville aside and said, you've got to honestly answer this question about Mourinho, I don't think any one of them would want him as manager at Manchester United. I don't. I think they don't like what he does. They don't think he fits in with the United way. But you know, fair play to them. They're not going to do that. But that's what I believe. Fredney has made a contribution. I don't know what's going on with Pogba. The first season we were so reliant on him. He assisted a lot of goals. Second season he seems disinterested. He needs to man up and play wherever he's told to. Well, I can't remember which ex-player said it. It might have been Roy Keane. It might have been Scholes. It might have been Gary Neville. He acts like he's in a bloody video, performing. He doesn't look like he's got enough about him. I'm just going to quickly pop and use the toilet and I'll be back in a minute. Jared, do you mind holding the fort for a minute or two?
All good.
Good. Cheers, pal.
Perfect. Hello, chair. So, everyone, who's off for a minute. I am curious. So, who thinks we're keeping De Gea? Let me know. I mean, it's interesting. 1-0. I'm okay with that for now. In the end, we just need to win. Get to the next round. We'll be happy. The Jose effect. I do think he brings down expectations to say that if he exceeds them, he's a genius or the special one. Tyrone, I don't like Jose Mourinho either, and I won't pretend I do. Well, I mean, you don't have to like Mourinho, but would you be fine with Mourinho if he brought the title but played like this? That's the end question with Mourinho. Because nobody's going to be okay with Mourinho if he brings second place. Bye-bye, Dave. I don't think so. I think he's going to stay. But they better give him whatever he wants. I don't care if he wants a piece of the team or a piece of Glazer's ponytail. Just give it to him. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking one more season, too. Well, thank you, Pooja. I will not shut up. He wants to be a United legend. I genuinely think that's true, Alec Dukes. De Gea would want to be a United legend. And if he brings back a Champions League to this club or the Premier League title, I think he's going to be looked at like that. I think it's a different day and age. You're never going to expect to win 7 titles in a row. Shout out to the chair. Chair wishes all the Irish people a happy St. Patrick's Day. Get drunk. Don't drive. Yeah. I mean, Pogba's concerning. I'd like to see him play. I'd like to see him score. I think he looks absolutely miserable. I think when you watch the Sevilla game, he was jogging back on defense. Just frustrating to see, and I think that's why he's getting slated. But Pogba's world class. We'll have to hope that we see it while he's wearing our badge. Dybala or Griezmann next season? It's not going to be Griezmann because he's going to Barcelona. Paul Robinson. Will one more transfer window change our tactics and style? No, but I think they'll give Mourinho the perfect team. And if he doesn't do what he wants with the perfect team, he's not the right person for the job. But because he keeps changing the lineup, to me, I look at it like he doesn't have the team that he wants. That's where my head is at with it. So, again, I'm results-oriented. I just want to see a title. Chair is talking.
I'm back.
Excellent. Mr. Dilworth, I love Liverpool from Jamaica. Well, I hope you like third place. I agree. We're only going to keep them with titles. I do think the FA Cup final would be nice to get into. I think it'd be a great way to end the season. I think it'd be great for next year. Do not underestimate the value that Sanchez is not playing in the World Cup and gets a full season to prepare next year. No risk of injury. Nothing.
I'll tell you what, don't buy Nivea if you're a man or a woman. Don't buy Nivea because they sponsor Sky. They sponsor Liverpool. Don't put money in the Scousers' pocket. If you're a United fan, don't buy Nivea products. They sponsor Liverpool. So there you go.
Who is United's biggest talent and will make it in the first team the next couple of years? I think Chong, Gomez. I think those are the two, and I think Pereira will come back and become on the team. I actually think once we clinch Champions League, you're going to see Chong and Gomez play a bit more.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I do hope so. I mean, that's another step towards, it's another step towards pleasing fans, isn't it? Hopefully he will continue to do that, because tonight I think dropping Fellaini and Pogba and Sanchez has sent the right sort of message out. I don't necessarily know if we've got the right sort of players to play attacking football. I don't necessarily know that Mourinho wants us to play attacking football.
Right. That's the point. I don't think that that's his type of football. And nobody was complaining when we were a point ahead of City. Nobody. Except Andrew Ellis, which I support. Never changed his opinion. But still, you have to make the point that results will shut people up very quickly. Nobody will complain if we have a title next year, Champions League or Premier League. People will be thrilled at the end of the season.
Andrew Gilbert says, no real creativity in the team, boring to watch. The thing is, though, is he setting us up for a fall anyway, Mourinho? I've got to always try and be honest. What's clicking through my head is that United are 1-0 up now. If he makes the changes to his favourites and brings Fellaini on, Ashley Young's coming on.
Yeah. Shaw comes off. It's fine. I do not think he's going to be here next year at all.
I don't know why that is. Does anyone know why?
Maybe he was hurt.
It's got to be an injury, hasn't it?
Yeah. If it is, it brings up our same point, which is why you cannot trust Luke Shaw. Yeah, he's taken out Shaw. So, I mean, look, we're going to have another left back, so don't get too attached to him, anyone. He's not staying here. He will be gone. Sandro, Gaia, that's what we're looking at.
He's got to be injured. Somebody just said he's pulled him off. What a tosser. But
toss him off.
Yeah.
There we go. That's why Mourinho likes older players, because they have the intensity like that. You're never going to hear Ashley Young jogging around the pitch like a baby.
I think the thing with Ashley Young is, though, it's like there's nothing about Ashley Young coming on that's exciting, is there? There isn't, because we're not winning the Premier League title this year. We might not win it next year, but Ashley Young's 33. What is a fact is that Ashley Young is 33 in July. He's right-footed, and he's not a very good left-back. So when he comes on at left back, or he plays every game between now and the end of the season, even if he plays well, it's like there's nothing he really offers us anymore, because we're not going to win the Champions League because we're out. We're not winning the Premier League because we're too far behind, and the FA Cup, I want us to win it. I do want to win the FA Cup, but we can win the FA Cup with Luke Shaw at left back. So Ashley Young is just a bit of a, isn't it? It's like, what, Ashley Young if he has a good game, what does it actually mean other than for Ashley Young? It doesn't mean much to the Manchester United support because there's no future in him, and that's the problem.
Is it right? But is it possible? Again, maybe I think Mourinho's mind is made up on people. There's no more changing it. So at this point, I do not think Luke Shaw is part of the future of this team. So in the end, Mourinho may just want to show people he can play still, and he's going to sell him. And then I think that's a lot of people that he has written off and are gone from this team. I do not think there's going to be the same starting 11 or even close next year. And I think you look at people he's going to sign, he's going to take in world-class talent next year. But Young does a job.
Absolutely nobody on Twitter, we put the question out, we put it in the live comments, absolutely nobody knows what's happened with Luke Shaw. So it's not even been fed out that he's injured. So that needs to be fed out quickly because again, it's just a problem, isn't it?
If it's an injury, it's consistent with his problems before. If it's not an injury, then there's an even bigger problem for him. I just don't get the attachment to Shaw. I really don't. Is he that good? Can he be that good?
I think it just, for me, Jared, it just goes back to what I was saying there before. Ashley Young is not a left-back and he's made lots of mistakes this season. Yeah, he had a good game against Salah. I mean, we're never going to end here at the end of that. Or do you want to talk about how he cost us the result against Spurs? How many other mistakes? Nathan Redmond killed him at Old Trafford. Mahrez killed him at Old Trafford. It's, you know, and he's 33 and he's right-footed. He's not a left-back. There's no future in Ashley Young. So if we're going to sign a left-back in the summer, all fine and good. But I still think this season Luke Shaw should have been given a proper run of games like he was in January because there's nothing that Ashley Young offers us. There's no future in Ashley Young. And I actually thought Ashley Young plays better with Martial.
You know,
Luke Shaw.
The one thing I will say about Mourinho and his wing back, he's been very consistent. He's like, I've had to makeshift people into left back and right back. I mean, left back specifically. He knows Young is not a defender, but he absolutely does not trust Shaw. So at this point, I can understand the attachment to Martial. He's worth it. Luke Shaw is not worth it. He's not worth it because in the end, even if he was the best player on earth, you still don't know he's going to play the next game.
Biosphere says, didn't Mourinho say that Shaw was one of the best left-backs in the world? Clearly he thinks Ashley Young is a better left-back. Well, Ashley Young's not one of the best left-backs in the world, so there we go.
Look, a good wing-back will change how creative this team can be. Pep's entire play style is from his wing-backs. Shaw for Rose.
I still think Ashley Young's a better left back than Ashley Young, and I'll keep saying that. I do firmly believe it.
What do you think about Ibra?
He's no good at left back.
You think he's coming back?
Oh, 100%. Mourinho loves him. You know, talk about Fellaini love. He absolutely loves Ibra, so 100%.
Yeah, I think Ibra has already signed in LA.
I think he'll leave in the summer, but he'll definitely play some games for United between now and the end of the season, which will slow us down even more.
I would not be surprised to see him in like the FA Cup final or something like that. I really wouldn't.
I mean, I like Zlatan, but I don't think he suits United because Zlatan needs to play in a team that's got a lot of pace behind him and around him, and we haven't. So he just slows us down because he's not a quick player.
Lukaku's been excellent in that role. He really has been.
Melvin Man United says if Jose's the reason Fellaini stays, he's got to go.
I agree. If Jose's obsessed with Fellaini, I don't believe something's wrong with him. I can understand why he wants him to stay, and he offered him a great contract. But if they offered him $170,000 and he turned it down, he's an idiot, and we should not be signing him. If you pay Fellaini $250,000 a week, I mean, I don't get it. How do you explain that to the fans? How do you explain that to Pogba? Does the game go to extra time or does it go to replay? I don't know.
I think at this stage it might be extra time, but maybe that's the semi-finals. I don't know. Somebody will know. I love the division amongst United fans, although it's very frustrating. Ovarian Despolment says Martial is so poor.
I just saw that comment, and I was like, well, can you tell me why he's so poor?
I just think it's agendas. I think everybody has favourites and people they don't like. And you will always see it's like with Smalling. I don't mind Smalling, but a lot of people can't stand him. And they see all the bad points in him, and I see all the good points in him. Which I don't mind, because that's what this channel is, and that's what fan opinion is. But I think there are people out there who don't like Martial, and there are people like me who do like Martial. But I think he's actually had a good game today. And then you've got people who are like, oh, he's rubbish, and it's weird. No replay extra time. That's what a lot of people are saying. So go on, mess my Saturday night up even more.
I would love to see. I want to see Pogba and Mourinho back normal. Again, I also think this is all press related. It's just I can't believe that he's benched in multiple games. It's weird. It's very weird. Never thought that would happen. So
the thing is, though, Brighton are actually having a few chances, and you can't blame that on Martial, Mata, Lingard, and Lukaku.
No.
Do you want to blame it on the back four? It's the midfield again. It's always the midfield.
No, this guy better not bring in Fellaini. Nice save by Romero. Oh. I mean, Brighton are getting chances, but I don't know. I mean, if we left this game 1-0, I do think the unfortunate part is that the press won't even write that we won. It'll be Mourinho. Mourinho ball is terrible, and as a result, United scrape a win against Brighton. It's just... I give him credit for not caring about the press, but it tears fans apart. Xiao.
We need to get the second goal and kill this game off anyway. That's what we need to do.
Yep.
We need more chemistry, says Ellen Plays. Yeah, I think we need somebody... The midfield is crying out for better than Matic and McTominay, and that's nothing against Matic and McTominay, but in an attacking sense, you know, is Matic and McTominay going to win a Premier League title? Is it going to get you past the quarterfinals of the Champions League?
No, but Matic will.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I'm not. You could have a midfield three with Matic, McTominay, and one other, or you could take one of them out and put another in. But it needs more. You need more in your midfield than that.
Yeah, I agree. I do hope Matic, who plays with Milinkovic-Savic, does some agenting this summer, because if that has any assistance in getting him here, that would be excellent. I do think he is the perfect player for this team. I think he will open us up. I think he will give Jose a little more confidence. I think
Mourinho will love him though, won't he? Because he's tall, he's strong, but he's also a baller as well. So it would actually be the perfect signing for fans and Mourinho, because it's the sort of hybrid of what he wants and what we want.
Exactly. Him and Fred would be perfect signings. Perfect. They're excellent. They're opposite in the way that they play.
I'd prefer Fabinho, to be honest, than Fred, but I wouldn't be unhappy with Fred.
I actually, again, Fabinho I have this weird feeling he's going to end up at PSG, even though I hope not. Because I think the torture session is that we sign Fellaini to a 3-year, 4-year contract, and then Fabinho goes to PSG.
Yeah. Fauzi says we need to be patient. Good times will come back.
I agree.
Hope, mate. Hope so, mate.
If Jose doesn't care about the press, what was the rant about? I don't think that was for the press. I think it was for us. I think it was for the fans to tell him to just realize what he has done over the course of time at the club. He's very bad at not having an ego, so it's disrespectful the way that it sounds. But I genuinely believe that will serve a very, very good purpose to be getting the fans a little bit more realistic that this is not a bad season if next year leads to a title. If this is for nothing, then he's not going to get much credit. But remember what Man City did last year before Guardiola launched up? Nothing.
See, Martial here, I mean, he's a left winger, but he's coming so central to get involved in the play. What's that from Lukaku? There's not even anybody there. It's like one of Firmino's no-look goals, no-look pass, but no one's there.
I do think
we need another goal.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell. Worldy save there from Romero. It should be 1-1. Edge of the box. Turns. I don't know how he gets this shot away because somebody should be a lot tighter than that. Probably Bailly again. Well, it's not quite a worldy save. I thought it was going in the top corner. It's quite close to Romero. He makes a decent save. It's not a worldy save.
All right, well, he made it look like a worldie, so let's give him a little credit for that.
Yeah.
There you go. It'll look good that he dived.
But Brighton, probably the better team in the second half. Champion Herb says they're going to score soon. He'll make some subs in a minute. He'll park the bus. Well, actually, it's quite symbolic, isn't it? Is he going to park the bus, or is he going to be a bit more expansive? Because I think if he brings Fellaini on and does that whole let's kill the midfield thing, or does he actually keep it the way it is and brings Pogba and Sanchez on? Because he's wasted a substitution on Shaw, whether it's through injury or not. So he can't get Fellaini, Sanchez and Pogba on the pitch, and Rashford. There's 4 players there. He can only get 2 on now.
I have to think Sanchez is coming on. Mourinho needs him to start scoring goals. I think it'll be Sanchez and Fellaini, but I hope I'm wrong.
Well, he's also got to think extra time as well, hasn't he?
Not in his head. I think if you ask Mourinho right now, this is the type of game that he wants.
I don't. What are we nearly an hour in? I don't think this performance. I mean, I have to be very pragmatic myself. I'm a bit like Mourinho running the ship United stand. I've got to be pragmatic. I can't really just say what I think. But from a pragmatic point of view, when I'm considering Mourinho inners and Mourinho outers, I don't think this helps. I think it helps Mourinho outers more than it helps Mourinho inners at the moment, because they'll just be saying, yeah, we're 1-0 up, but that's the only chance we've created in the whole game. And Brighton have parked the bus against us. You know, a team parks the bus at Old Trafford and we create one really good chance. It's not good enough.
It's not. But again, Liverpool won 5-0 in a league game, so don't worry too much. They're not in the FA Cup anymore, and they're going to lose in the Champions League, and they're going to win nothing. So we don't have to talk about
Liverpool might knock City out, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I
don't really care. One of them goes out. That's the main thing.
Well, then the next one. I don't think Liverpool's going to the Championship, but God help us if they. I'm not going to. No, City are going to win, and we're just going to have to deal with that problem. Whatever. At least it's all oil money. But again, I think that they've been boring, but they won, and it's Brighton. They're doing a job right now. As long as they can keep it up. We have a habit of letting in bad goals at the end.
Someone's just talking about Ron Atkinson on MUTV before. Sean Murray thought TV had banned him for life. I don't think he'll get on mainstream TV. I don't know how he gets on MUTV, actually, Ron Atkinson, because what he said was pretty bad. He used to be on ITV all the time, and then he got caught saying something that you literally cannot get caught saying. With a racist variety. But he is on MUTV. It's a bit of a shame because I used to like Ron Atkinson. His punditry was quite good, but you can't say what he said. But I don't know how he gets on MUTV, to be honest. I suppose everyone deserves a second chance, don't they? But
yeah, well,
I don't think he'd be given a second chance by mainstream.
Well, don't spit on any kids and you'll be fine.
I think Carragher will be back. I know they've
100%.
Suspended him for a few months, but I think he'll be back. I don't really think he should be back, to be honest, but
whatever.
I ain't really bothered. I don't watch Monday Night Football anyway.
Fine. Have him. Why did Shaw get taken off? No one knows. If anyone has any news on why Shaw got taken off, I'd be curious.
Let's have a quick look around on Twitter, because sometimes there might be...
And then tomorrow you got Wigan, Southampton, and Leicester, Chelsea. Hopefully Leicester win. I mean, yeah, let's go.
Charlie Farley on Twitter says, if Luke Shaw isn't injured, then he's a goner. JM, Mourinho's constantly at him. If that's the case, I'd absolutely go for Kieran Tierney. Shaw isn't injured. It's an absolute joke. Luke Shaw bombing up that left-hand side was a joy to watch in the first half. Confidence killer, Mourinho.
I don't know about that. I really don't. I'm not. Again, I'm not even sold on Luke Shaw, but I can't understand the obsession. I just think people have been bought into like him, and like I said, I think Fosu Mensah will be back and take over that slot in the side, and then I think they're going to buy Sandro, and I think that's fine. And I think there's going to be teams that want Luke Shaw because of how obsessed the fan base is with him, which I think helps his value. So, not a bad thing for the team either. I wish I could end the season now. Nothing more than 2 weeks, you're going to want to end the season even more.
I have to believe that Luke Shaw's injured because, I mean, if he's not injured, then what has Ashley Young offered?
I don't know. Mourinho's more comfortable with him. I mean, I don't know why, but you can tell he is.
Subscribe to the channel if you're new, everyone. Bottom right hand corner for the subscribe feature. We all, I suppose, it's sometimes the way, isn't it? When you watch United, it's a bit like under Van Hel. Van Hel, yeah, that was right actually. I can't say the word Van Hel. I can't. No matter how hard I try to say his name properly, I always say Van Hel. It's sort of imprinted in my brain. But the best part of the evening might be the call-in afterwards, because I do want to. One of the big things I wanted people to call in about was about Mourinho's press conference yesterday anyway, because I felt that United would win this game. I thought we'd be a little bit more comfortable in this, to be honest, but I didn't think we were going to get anything dramatic about this game. But I'm interested to see what fans have got to say about Mourinho. So remember, for the hour after the game, we will be taking your calls, and you can have your say on Mourinho, United, and everything else. I think a lot of people are bored, which is never good.
Yeah, I'm very curious what people have to say. Again, he's not going to keep a fan base united with this, but one more season.
Well, all I can say is one decent chance against the team that's parking the bus is poor, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't create the right amount of chances, so we can't expect to be up 7-0. But I don't know. I really don't. It's tough.
They've had more chances than us.
Mm-hmm. And Jose will come out and say, it's 1-0. We did the right job. So, what do you respond
and the thing is that you can't really blame it on the players. I don't see I don't see players not trying. I just see players playing to a certain way of playing. I mean, is Lingard actually on the pitch tonight? I'd love someone to confirm.
He's not done much. I mean, I gotta think he's coming off.
I think he'll bring Martial off because it's what he does.
That would be quite unfortunate. Uh-oh.
Well, we're coming up for 65 minutes, so he has kept the team on. And I did say I would love him to keep this team on for like 65, 70 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he did that. I read Simeone, and if you think you've seen boring football before, you can all take a nap at the stadium.
The result, once again, will mark the performance. Winning is always Jose's trump card, and all he cares about, says Paul Robinson.
Yeah.
There's a sadistic side to me that would like to see Brighton score.
Yes.
Just to see how he reacts to it. I'd like to see him, because if this does, Paul's right, if this just goes 1-0 and we've had one chance, it's like, it doesn't solve the issue of the way that we're playing football. If Brighton score, there has to be a winner tonight. You can't have a point, you can't have a replay. So I'd love to see what he's going to do if Brighton do get a goal. I wouldn't say Brighton totally do deserve a goal, but they haven't had that clear-cut chance yet. But
what is he going to do in extra time? What would he put on? Would he go attacking? Would he park the bus and go for penalties? It would be very interesting.
See, Ashley Young's just been skinned there and the cross comes in over the bar. I mean, what does Ashley Young offer at left back there? He's been absolutely skinned.
Ooh. Oh. Yeah, I agree. Bring Sanchez on for Lingard would be good. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I do agree. The most important thing is being in the next round of this FA Cup. It really is. But
I mean, look, I didn't need to win 5-0. I didn't even need to win 2-0. I think people want to see a performance, but in the end, if you lost playing that way consistently, you wouldn't be happy. So, Mourinho's management style, 1-0 is a good game. We're just not going to be happy with it.
Daniel John says, time to park the bus with Fellaini. I tell you what, if I know Mourinho, I think I'd do over his career. There'll be a massive part of him at the moment that if he wasn't in such a difficult position with the home support, I think there's a big part of him at the moment that he's just thinking, get Fellaini on and park up. He will be. That's exactly what he is like. He won't be thinking, let's take Lingard off, get Sanchez on and kill this game. His natural thing will be, let's get a result. And I've read a lot on social media and I can sort of see it a bit now. Mourinho's been in his technical area all game, animated. And some people see that as a good thing, and some people are calling it pantomime because he knows that he's got to win the crowd back. I don't mind if it's pantomime, but he needs to do it every game.
Yeah. I mean, look, I always think he likes riling up the press, so I could see him bringing out Fellaini. Just so the fans boo, and then just so he can go to them and be like, I don't like when the fans boo him. This is wrong. So, who knows? I think Mourinho gets off on it.
Paul JM11's just made a comment that will be way too old for many people, but he says 1-0 to United is the new 1-0 to Arsenal. Now, Arsenal used to be managed by George Graham many years ago, and they actually won a UEFA Cup or a Cup Winners' Cup doing it. They won a couple of titles doing it as well. They literally used to win with that defence of Adams and Bold and Dixon and Winterburn and Seaman. They hardly conceded. If Fantasy Premier League had been around in them days, you'd have a couple of Arsenal defenders in because they had so many clean sheets. They'd nick a goal 1-0 and they were the most boring team in the world to watch. But not many people remember that because it was many years ago.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the logic is very simple. Win and it doesn't matter how. But I don't believe fans think that way. I don't know. It's not 1-1, is it?
No.
Score people should be banned.
There's a lot of people waiting for Brighton to score. I don't know. Well, I said that against Sevilla in the week, so I'm not going to tempt fate. I'm surprised he's giving this team 70 minutes. I mean, I'll take any little positives I can. A good block there by Smalling. That could have been 1-1.
Oh.
I can never hear what the crowd are like, so if anyone wants to let us know, or if anyone can hear what the crowd are like, I would predict that they're getting a bit irritated at the moment because we've done sod all in this second half and it's all Brighton. All Brighton! Lingard has not been good. He's not been good.
That was a killer.
Rashford's going to come on, so it's definitely going to be Rashford for Martial.
I mean, the worst part about it is I can't convince myself it's the right move, but selling Martial would not. It sounds like it would fix all of our problems. even though he's my favorite player, I don't see how Sanchez goes left, Dybala goes 10, Pogba gets more creative. I don't know. I don't know. I think there's a lot of logic behind it. That's what I hate. I think Lingard will come off next for Fellaini.
Well, Rashford's coming on, so we know that it's never going to be Lukaku. Who comes off for Rashford? It's going to be Martial, isn't it? He's not going to bring Lingard off. It's backwards passes all the bloody time.
Mm-hmm. It's not good enough. Yeah, you see, like, buys, like, go up, pass up. So you want to see certain players get frustrated. Come on, Lukaku. Nice pass in the middle. I do think it was interesting a bunch of the players apologized for the Sevilla performance.
I didn't blame the players for that, to be honest.
No. It's nice to see. More than just one for social media purposes. I actually thought some of them meant it.
Would you sign for this United side? Hell no, says Fire99. I think that's the problem, isn't it? I think that if you're looking at the best attacking talent, I would look. Well, Alexis Sanchez went there in January. God, look what's happened to his career. So if you're an attacker, you're probably not going to fancy it. You just hope that the pull of Manchester United is going to be enough.
Well, money works in those equations, but we're not the ones who have it anymore. Or we don't spend it, let me rephrase.
Minutes. Everything in Mourinho's soul at the moment is bring Fellaini on, shut the doors, park the bus.
It's probably going... Again, it's going to happen. I just feel he loves it. He loves fights with the press. And he's got a good one going.
Mata for Rashford.
All right.
So it's always the same players, isn't it? Always the same players.
Better than Martial. J2G, I feel you. £400 for a United goal. You bet the spread. That was a mistake.
What's interesting now, his next substitution, he's only got one left. And he's got his favourite son, Fellaini, his biggest signing, Pogba, and his biggest earner, Sanchez.
Well, it's going to be Fellaini.
Some boos from the fans, apparently.
Oh, jeez.
Nothing from Mourinho and Mata.
Random question out of left field, Mark. Would you sign Neymar?
I don't like Neymar, to be honest. I think you've got to be very careful about players that you sign for your club. If people want to say Mourinho United, not Manchester United, Neymar is Team Neymar. He's not going to be Team United. What sort of player walks away from Barcelona to go to PSG unless it's for money? It's just ridiculous. Do you want that sort of player at United? I don't care how good he is. I think I'd rather have somebody who's 10% worse than Neymar, but is totally focused on the club and effort. And efforts, I do agree with Mourinho on that. It's like, if you've got players who want to run through bricks walls for you, then that is obviously going to be more important than a talented player who doesn't.
Right. Or goes to his father to complain in the media if something he doesn't like. So it's interesting. But he's out of there, I think.
No, there was no contact between Mata and Jose there. Jose didn't run over and pat him on the back or anything.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing for fans this summer is to let go of people they're attached to, because it's going to happen. This is going to be the summer where he guts the team. I really believe it. He wasn't joking where I think they said he wants to sell 7 players. I think he will.
The thing is, he wouldn't. I've got to go back to the start, and I reckon wherever anybody is, and I've just got to read this super chat from Bicebeer. He says, "Imagine Mourinho boycotting the club and demanding to keep Fellaini. It could become a reality, mate. But it doesn't matter where anybody is. It doesn't matter whether you're unsure, pro Mourinho, against Mourinho. I said this the other night, and I'll say it again now. It really doesn't matter until we play Man City, because we'll probably beat Brighton, I hope, and we'll probably beat Swansea at home after the international break. They are both games that you would expect even a David Moyes team to beat, Brighton and Swansea at home. The next tough game is Man City away, and boy is that going to be tough. And that game, it wouldn't matter if we'd won 5 or 6-0 tonight and beat Swansea 5 or 6-0 in 2 weeks. If you go to Man City and then get beat 5 or 6-0 yourself, all the good work's done. He's over. So it's almost academic what happens tonight in Swansea. What I would say tonight is it's probably not helped the situation, because we've created one chance in 76 minutes at Old Trafford.
Now, by the way, if we draw that game at City and we win all our other games, do they win the title that game, or do they have to win the title the next game? I'm curious. Because I'm not positive if we won all of our games, Liverpool, Swansea, and then got to City, I believe they have to win that game. A draw would still keep them from the title. So, not be surprised if Mourinho plays for a draw in that game.
Oh, we will go to Man City and we will park the bus, and he would be ecstatic if someone gave him a draw now.
Right.
To be fair, I remember Sir Alex Ferguson doing that, though. But
yeah, I mean, this
different circumstances for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Mourinho didn't set it up that City would win the title against him at their stadium. Again, it's a tough, tall order. I think he can set up for that game and get a draw. I think it's tough to beat them. So I really wanted to play them in Champions League. I thought it would have been very interesting. We either gotten crushed like 7-2, or we would have won that entire series of 1-0. It would have been fun.
Yeah, I think what Jose Mourinho was trying to say actually in his press conference yesterday is, I couldn't say it when we were still in the tournament, but we had no chance of winning it. Which is like, again, what a ridiculously negative comment to make. But it doesn't mean that's still okay to get knocked out in the last 16 just because you've got no chance of winning it.
Right. Being 50% right doesn't mean you're wrong. It's like I don't think the fans disagree that we could have won. Nobody thinks we could have won. I mean, it's a dream scenario to get as far as, the finals in some fluky way, but it would have been tough to beat any of the team there. Again, I just kind of get to the point that he didn't handle himself in a way to the fans. I think he wanted to be realistic with them. It's like there hasn't been much progress since Fergie. This is not the end of the world where we are right now. If next year things are still terrible, I understand. Then we have a problem. But I almost think that's Mourinho saying, give me more time and leave me alone.
Bit of afters between Martial and Lukaku there. Sorry, Martial and Brighton player. Lukaku just pulled him away.
Alex Williams, I don't know, till the summer transfer window is my answer. He said, how long can we put up with this type of football? Until the end of the year. And then that's it.
I've got to say, it's been a boring game. I can't lie. I'm disappointed that in such a long game we've created one chance of note, and I don't think that's acceptable.
No. And again, I don't think they're going to nick it. At worst, we go to extra time, and then we should still win.
I think Jesse Lingard, he's very lucky to still be on this football pitch, because I think for me, I'll do the player ratings later, and I don't think many people have had a good second half. I've got to be honest, but
no. But if it finishes 1-0, job done. let people complain about the style of play. They're not wrong. But job done. You can't be outplayed by someone if you win. They could have played better at points, but you still did the job. It's just frustrating to watch. Someone said Moyes wants a second bite at the cherry. Moyes is about to take a team into relegation again. He is a disaster.
No, he is, without question, the worst manager we ever appointed. I will never to the day. I mean, I think, regardless of Mourinho and Van Gaal was obviously bad, but the Moyes decision just set us back so bad. We were champions of England. The funny thing is, Moyes still took us to a quarterfinals of a Champions League, which I always forget. But yeah.
Again, some people you just know should not be coaching teams. I mean, I also think the money number is a very big issue with fans, but I don't understand how they don't look at it differently. We are charged more for every single player. We have to pay more for every person. Obviously, our transfer fees are inflated, so $300 million is not a lot of money if your striker cost $100. I think it's unfair to judge him like he spent a lot of money. I think he has spent money, but after this summer, he's going to spend another $200 million. That will be interesting to judge him on.
Mourinho could be being stubborn tonight, not bringing on Fellaini and Pogba and Sanchez to say, look, this is what we're like without them. Having said that, we weren't that good with them, were they? Here we go, 2-0, and it's Matic. It's funny, isn't it, actually, that the two players who've scored tonight are the two players that Mourinho bigged up in midweek. So 2-0, game over. Thank God for that.
There we go. I agree. We need certain people and certain positions that will help us play freer football. But 2-0, that's what the scoreline will read, so it doesn't matter. And we're in the next round.
It's a soft goal from Brighton's point of view. It's just a simple cross, but the Brighton player falls over and the keeper's wrong-footed. Simplistic goal, and we scored from across there.
And that's 6-5, so perfect.
83 minutes, second chance. I still don't think it will do a hell of a lot for those people who are Mourinho out, but
well, don't worry, another one's coming. That last 80 minutes spell, in the last 10 minutes, he pushes the goals up. Yeah.
Would you take a win tonight and lose 4-0 to City, says Vincent Quentin? Oh, I hate those sort of questions.
No. I'd rather be out of the FA Cup. I'd rather finish in 4th place as long as City do not win the title against us. There's nothing you can take back from those pictures. They'll be around forever. Just like that idiot scoring the 94th minute goal. I don't want to ever see it. I just want to get through that game, get over the season, be in the Champions League, and be happy. The FA Cup is a bonus. We've already won it.
I mean, talking about man of the match, I mean, Matic has got a goal and an assist.
Yeah, I'll give it. I don't know. I'd give it to him or Lukaku. Just Lukaku held up the ball well, but yeah, he hasn't gotten many chances, so I think I'd go with Matic. It was a great cross, first goal. Formation at the Etihad 191.
So, still got 5 minutes left in this game. Brighton corner. Ashley Young looks like he's winded. Top 4 and win the FA Cup. Is that a good season? Says Floyd Bennett.
No.
I think we failed in the Champions League, didn't we? So that, and also top 4 in the Premier League, but how far off first are you? I think that's, you know, what I find funny about Liverpool is, we're brilliant, Salah, we're brilliant at football, but you're still behind Manchester United, and Manchester United fans are irate with the way we're playing. But Liverpool, who are ecstatic with the way they're playing, are behind us, and we are embarrassingly behind Man City. So I think that's always a funny one. Ashley Young looks like he's hurt himself. Maybe he's not good on England duty. Ashley Young could be out for a while. Luke Shaw, step back up. He's just gone back on his knee in a nasty position. Chris Smith says, Mark, where's the magic gone? Every game seems to be hard work. It's painful. We are garbage, struggling against Brighton. Even at 2-0, it's Brighton. 2 shots on, 2 really good chances, isn't it? In 90 minutes. It's not really acceptable. But all I can say to you is Jose Mourinho will be ecstatic with that. But if you've got a point, look, that's why we do the Skype show after a match, because obviously we normally do it to talk about a match, and we will talk about the match, but I am very eager to get people's opinions on Ashley Young's alright. I'm very eager to get people's opinions on Mourinho as well, because I'm fully aware that that's going to be what's bothering fans most at the moment.
Yeah, I'm very curious to hear what people have to say. I mean, I'm most curious if we won the title next year, but we played this type of football, would you still want Mourinho?
Well, the thing about that is, he's got to do it, hasn't he? He's got to bring Fellaini on every bloody game. Every game. He's got to do it.
All right. Well, it's a big middle finger to the fans.
I'd love it if the crowd. No, I can't say it. I can't say that. There's levels, and I mustn't let my personal opinion cloud what is a very independent fan channel.
Oh, Mark, no one knows your opinion on Fellaini, by the way.
Pardon?
Nobody knows your opinion on Fellaini. Please tell us.
Oh, I love him. I love Fellaini.
Yes, Bobby Charlton is. You can't really think Mourinho's worse than Moyes. And that's not possible. Lingard did nothing today. Nothing. Come on. Rashford's got moving the ball nicely. Oh, beautiful play.
Why? Yeah, the thing is, though, why do we need to bring Fellaini on when we're 2-0 up? You know, we're not parking the bus. Why do we need to do it?
Easy. It's a good story, and he wants to agitate the fans. There's no other reason for it at the 88th minute. It's not even tactical at that point.
3 minutes added on. 3 minutes added on. I do a quick change around between the 2 streams now, so I am just going to. No, I can leave that for a minute. Actually, who would you give as your man of the match, Jared?
Say Matic, assist and a goal. Did the job. And also, good job, Bailly, for making it through. Again. Yeah, I'm actually surprised there wasn't more of a performance today, to be honest, after Sevilla.
I don't really feel that is on the players again. I think we are. I think what's abundantly clear is the training of the players.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so slow and lethargic, and there's no risk element to our attack. It's totally on the coaching staff. And I said this in the week. I think his coaching staff is archaic, and he's been around it too long, and the game has moved on, and he needs to move his coaching staff on. I still think he's a very good manager, but somebody just said there Romero could be man of the match.
He made a couple good saves. He did, and he made one look really good. So, sure, you can have that.
Don't panic, everybody. The live comments is just going to change to the live comments of the next stream, which is I haven't done it actually yet. Let me just do it. I need to put it in the link in the video description for you all, so you can all pop over to there as soon as this game is finished, and we'll start taking some of your calls as well.
This is a fun one. Again, it'd be nice to see them win 5-0 in games like this, but until next year, we're not going to see that. Although, top 4 will be fine. Subpar season building on. Rashford. Oh, Fellaini. Oh, Brighton's still pressing.
Another save for Romero.
And that's going to do it.
So when's the FA Cup semi-final draw anyway?
Monday.
Monday.
I mean, and then...
That's it. It's full time. So thanks, Jared, for coming on.
Perfect. It was fun time, Mark. Thank you very much.
Enjoyed the chat. It wasn't the most interesting of games, but the chat was good, and so was the live comments. So cheers for that, pal. I'll speak to you soon.
Excellent. It was a fun one. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, pal. Link in the video description for the Skype in show. We are going to be there in. Well, I'll be starting it literally. I've got everything set up. I reckon I can start in 30 seconds. So tune in. Link in the video description. Get over there. We're taking your calls. I want your opinions, really, pretty much on Manchester United, but also the bigger picture around Mourinho. What was that all about? You happy with that? Job done, says Pigeon55. Link in the video description. Join me on there. We will be taking your calls after a couple of minutes of sort of analysis and thoughts from me. I'll see you in a jiffy.